All right, Hustle fam, we are back with another amazing episode. And today, I'm really excited, man. I got my brother Joe Gibson here from Gibson Logistics, one of the heavy haul champs.
Yeah.
Man, one of the topics that everybody is always asking about is heavy haul, man. It's one of those niches that, number one, is very lucrative.
Right.
It's very specialized where, like, just anybody can't do it. I'm assuming that's why it's pretty lucrative. And it's just different, man. A lot of people talk about traditional trucking, over the road trucking and all that, dry vans, reefers, but heavy haul is one of those niches that, if you get into it and you do it right, you can make a very good living for yourself.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. I kind of worked the ranks, so I did them all. So I know personally from experience what it's like to do each one of those industries you just named. So I would definitely say heavy haul is definitely the most lucrative. But I enjoyed each step, you know what I'm saying? So I can't complain. I made money through and through, and now I'm here. If that makes sense.
For sure. Gibson Logistics, just for context, tell me a little bit about the company, what you guys do.
Okay, so primarily myself, I do oversize only. I specialize in oversize, okay? But I do have flatbed work that moves. I have my nephew right now, he just leased on, and I just started releasing trucks on. So I brought him aboard. I have another truck of my own, and then I have my heavy haul truck. I am looking to expand, so I will be taking on more people that want to lease on. But primarily what we do is we just do specialized freight. So that's flatbed, step deck, power only, and then we do definitely heavy haul. On the heavy haul side, we have beam trailer, standard RGN, multi-axle, 11-axle setup. And we work to appease the customers. I mean, if you tell me you need something done, I'm going to buy that trailer if I don't have it. And then now I'm in position. I want to dominate my area, and I do dominate my area on an independent level. So that's kind of my focus, and that's kind of what the company targets, to appease the customer and provide what they need only on the specialized side.
Got it. When you talk about, or when we talk about heavy haul, to put it, for the audience who may not understand what that is, what type of commodities are you guys hauling?
So on the heavy haul side, I mean, most people know about the machinery, the different type of equipment, front end loaders, bulldozers, excavators, off-road dump trucks, and things like that. But that's kind of the freight that moves regular. So that freight pays, but that's not what's going to make you rich in the industry. If you want to make money in this industry, you have to get into that crated material, or even just that specialized, like guys are hauling towers. Guys are hauling generators, things of that nature, transformers. So when you get into that, where people trust you to do that, then at that point, now you're kind of generating a substantial amount of income.
That takes you to the next level.
Yeah, definitely.
Got it. All right. So you kind of alluded to earlier, you've been in this game for a minute. You've done a mixed batch of things.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So heavy haul is not where you started.
Nah, not at all.
But it's where we're currently at and where you'll probably end.
Correct.
Right. All right. So let's get into your background a little bit. From New Orleans?
Yeah. Oh, New Orleans area.
New Orleans area. All right.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that a little bit.
All right. So mom's is, so, we have parishes. Y'all, everybody else has counties. We have parishes. So Orleans Parish, Jefferson Parish, St. Charles, and St. John. Okay. I'll focus on those. Dad from Jefferson, mom from St. Charles. They buy a house in St. John. So look, I want to be able to go back to these neighborhoods, right? So I got to name them. So shout out to down the road, Reserve. I spent a lot of my youth there. But I was born in St. Charles Parish, which is a town called Narco. One of the richest parishes in the state, because we have a lot of refineries, but you ain't gonna live long. So you want to get out of there, right?
Damn.
So, you're breathing in a bad air. But other than that, and my dad's from Jefferson, so I spent a lot of summers and weekends in Jefferson Parish. We did New Orleans. I mean, it was a thing called a super fair. We were there regular. We go to the fairs. We hang out different events in New Orleans. So I spent a lot of my time through all of those parishes that I mentioned. My neighborhood that I claim as home for me is called, they call it the Dump. That's our neighborhood. It's a hood. Yeah, it's the Dump. Okay. Yeah. So you go there and you better know somebody when you go in there. And I ain't trying to sound tough. I'm just being real, right? Like you want to know somebody when you go in there, but it's real homely. Like everybody there is love. We all stick together. We all want to see each other get ahead. So shout out to that neighborhood. And then other than that, the whole St. Charles Parish, man. I got love for all of them. There's a lot of family there from my mom's side. So
got it. St.
Charles Parish, yeah.
So what was it like coming up in St. Charles? I have some assumptions, but you tell me what it was.
So not necessarily growing up in St. Charles. I was just born there.
Okay.
Growing up in St. John, Man, being a outside person, right? Because I ain't have family that's older sisters. I got an older brother, 3 sisters, and then me. My older brother is the oldest, so we like 8-9 years apart. So we didn't grow up together at all. But then my 3 sisters, they're 2 years, and then I'm 3 years behind the last one. So I literally went to school by myself the whole time. I only went to school with one sibling twice. My first year of school and her last year of school, because we're 3 years apart. So it was different. I had to rely on friendships. I didn't have that brother-sister connection that a lot of people had. I would say this though, it was great. I had to fight a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because look, they were all cousins. So when one of them had a problem, it was pick on Joe or Joe, So it was cool though. It was great. You know what I mean? When you're a kid, you look at that and you're like, man, why is it so hard? But when you grow up, you appreciate that, because those same people that I had those little kitty battles with as adults, man, we love each other now. It's all love. We see each other, we speak. It's a genuine hug when we meet up, Yeah. And then you slide to Jefferson Parish. I moved back out there at the start of high school. So I go to high school out there, and it's different, because out there it's more guys are focusing on their girlfriend, as opposed to in St. John, it was my guys, my bros. I hung with my guys. So, it's just different, I'm glad I got to tap into all of those different facets, because now it shaped me to understand, what's important to me, family, friends, things of that nature. So I'm real connected down there. I got a lot of friends because I had to rely on friendships. So,
Got it.
I say it that way.
So after high school, do you go to school, college, or?
So I jumped right into, I worked on the river. I was a deckhand out there.
On the river?
Yeah, I worked on the river,
Okay.
on the Mississippi River, right? So what it was barges, tugboats, things of that nature. And I went out there at 18, right out of school. I did that for a year and a half, almost 2 years. I moved up in 6 months from a deckhand to a lead man. And by the time I left, I was an acting fleet mate. I was on the river one day, man, and I was like, what am I doing out here? I'm looking around. There's nothing but water, barges, bunch of guys. I'm like, man, I don't belong out here. My dad had trucks. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get my CDLs and drive. Now I'm 19 at this point.
Yeah.
And then that transitions me from the river to driving trucks.
Now, your dad had trucks, so he had his own company, his own business?
Yeah, so he had end-dump. So I started in the end-dump industry.
Okay.
Mastered that, man. I
So
did
you
my
went to
thing
work
with
with your dad?
Well, so what happens is my first job was actually hauling demolition. So I worked for a company that my dad worked his trucks for, and they gave me my first shot. They're no longer around, but it was a company called Carrollton Lumber. And with them, we tore down houses like we would go in there. People would buy these expensive homes and tear them down and rebuild what they wanted. Okay. So we would go there and do that.
Okay. Okay. Got you. So you're like what, 18, 19 doing this? 20?
I'm 19. I just had made 20, basically.
Okay. Yeah. About 20 years old. All right. Continue with the story.
Okay. So then from there, I worked for them for about 10 months. One of the other drivers had an accident. So when he had an accident, of course, insurance renewal kicks in. That insurance company won't insure him anymore. So now they have to go with a different type company. That company boosts the age up to 25 and older. So they let me go. They paid me all my overtime, would pay everything. And then I transitioned from that, and I go and work for a little door company, moving around. So I have an uncle who's deciding he wanted to drive trucks. Okay. So he drive for a little while. He realizes it's not for him, but he has a truck with a note on it. So my dad, which is his brother, he tells him, he said, man, listen, why don't you give, Lil Joe a shot? So my uncle like, okay, I didn't hear the conversations between them two, but I would imagine he was thinking like, man, he young. Like, how's he gonna manage this? My dad was like, I got him, I'm sure. So anyway, they give me the shot, I take it. And like literally, I had a half a tank of diesel, $200 in my pocket, and I had a truck with about 5 months left on the insurance. I take that, and from there, man, I take it and I run with it. I had been around it my whole life, so I knew the lingo, knew how to get into the industry, knew how to tap into customers and how to, generate numbers. But now I'm getting a chance to actually enact that. And I did good, man. I'm still here,
Got it. All right. So you start with that truck, and tell me what are you hauling at this time?
So at this time now, I'm hauling end-dump. And it's just a 3-axle truck with a bed on the back.
Just explain what that is, so for people who don't know what end-dump is.
Okay, so end-dump is sand, gravel, mud, dirt, just anything that will go inside that box. And it's like usually like a dump truck. Exactly, okay. Yeah. So and we call it dump truck. More around is more generalized as end-dump. But yeah, a dump truck. And Basically, that's what I was doing. I was hauling those different materials, just for like locals, companies. We would get on big jobs, small jobs, levy jobs, just anything that needed that service.
Okay. And how long you do that for?
So now we in 2001, because I got 22 years, right? So 2001, let's go back a little bit.
We got a long way to go.
Yeah. Well, actually, so let me start over. So that was 2001 when I did the demolition work. So now 2002, I transitioned into that truck, I want to say February. First, I drove it for my uncle for about 3 months, because I guess he was testing me. So I'm driving for him. And in 2002, he gave me the opportunity, I want to say around February. I do that for him until I make 21. Well, I do that for myself till I make 21. Once I make 21, then I transition to wanting to go over the road. And man, look, I remember the look on my dad's face when I told him I was going over the road. He's like, "You doing what?" And I'm like, "Yeah, nah, Dad, I'm going over the road." At that point, I felt like everything was built in my city. So I'm running a dump truck, and the jobs are few and far in between. It's monopolized by big companies, and we really only make real money when a big job come up. I need consistent money. Like, I'm starting a family. I'm not where my dad is, which is ending it. I'm starting it. So I'm like, man, I gotta go over the road. So I hit up Snyder. Shout out to them. They gave me my first shot over the road. They bring me in. We had some negotiations because I had my CDLs, but with no over the road experience. So we come to agreement. I drive their truck for a certain amount of miles. And after I drive their truck, then they will hire my truck on after I get a certain amount of over the road experience.
Okay.
So what happens is, and I gotta take my lick, because I walked away from Snyder feeling mad with them for a while, but it processed later. So what happened was, I leased on to them to do I hired on with them to do dry van. Okay. But when I was in the training process, I switched from dry van to chemicals.
Okay.
A driver told me that if you haul chemicals based off where I live, I can get home more. So that ultimately changed the amount of experience that I needed in order for them to hire my truck on. Now, as I'm young, I'm aggressive, I'm hungry. I feel like everybody's picking on me because I'm young, right? So I'm like, I get to 30,000 miles and I say, yo, I'm ready to put my truck on. It was like, nah, I think I need like 100,000. So I'm like, yo, y'all playing me, like y'all tripping. So I'm like, you know what? Screw y'all, I'm out of here, right? Not thinking, well, I went from dry van to chemicals. So that changed the requirements of experience.
That's right.
I realized that later, right? So anyway, apologize to Snyder. So anyway, I leave. I'm young, I'm aggressive, and I feel like this is the energy I need to carry into the industry to get where I'm going. So I leave them, I get back in my own truck, and I get that truck hired on with a company called Dallas and Mavis. I run flatbed with them. So my first experience with doing flatbed was early 2023. 2003. So I do that with them briefly. I didn't like it. It wasn't really for me because I wasn't used to being gone as much. Even though I was with Snyder, I was in more of a structured system where they had terminals everywhere. I can just tap in with people who knew what I was going through. Now I'm on my own, working, running how I want to run. I'm responsible for everything. So it was different, So I went back local, put my truck on with another company, Central Transport, doing LTL freight. I'm home every day, making money, but now I'm growing. I got my son, I got a lot of stuff going on. So he's getting older, requirements are more. So I had to switch it up. I need to make more money. So then from there, I switch over. I say, okay, let's do containers. I can make a little more money with that. So now I'm floating through the industry from end dump to demolition to end dump to flatbed to LTL freight. Now I'm going into containers. So I put some time in the containers. I did a full year with the company. And then I learned about tanker containers, which is basically the same thing. It's just an ISO is what it's called, and it's a containerized tank that goes from country to country by ship. So I do that, and honestly, my experience with the people in the office, I kind of just felt like they had favoritism. So I leave that at that. I don't want to offend anyone, but I felt like it was a favoritism thing. So I left there and I went with Landstar. So now we're around 2005. 2005, I'm with Landstar. Landstar trained me, and they still do a lot for me now. So I mad respect for them. I respect anybody that helped me put food on the table for my kids. I like mad love for them. Landstar put me on. I train with them. I go over the road. Now I'm making the most money I've ever made. I'm going to California. I'm going to New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Like, I'm in all these spaces that I had never been in. Making money, but I realized I don't have the proper truck. I literally have a 350 horsepower motor. This is one of the smallest motors you can have. I'm going in mountains, pulling 80,000 pounds up through mountains. I have no Jake brakes. So this is pure experience.
Right.
So at this point, it's like you know, I really have to master my craft. And I did good, man. I want to say I made about 30 grand with them at the time in the 3-month span that I was with them. But I really only kind of worked 2 months because I had to learn, you know, how to put the loads together. So, you know, it's like 15 grand a month, and we talking 2005. So this times is different.
For sure.
So that was a lot of bread back then. So I'm like, okay, Joe, look, leave them respectfully. Let's go get a better truck and we'll go back. Well, I never went back. So now we slide into going back to containers. Katrina hit, of course, so we're dealing with that. I had just went back to containers for 1 month. Katrina hit. Now I'm back doing in-dump, but now I'm doing tractor trailer dump truck. So we do that, man. We clean up the city, get the city back up and running. And you know, now that's kind of fading out. So now I have to figure out what I'm gonna do. So I decide I'll pull containers for a while, but I'm starting to hear rumors about authority. So I'm like, okay, it's 2007. We're pushing 2007 now. So what happens is I'm hearing these rumors. I start to inquire more. So there's a guy named Oscar Dupree, man, rest his soul. He helped me get my CDLs back when I started. And then now I approach him now about learning how to do my own authority. So he's deceased now, man, but respect to him. He gave me the game. He sat me down. He told me some things. His nephew, Timmy Broomfield, which is still a good friend of mine, I park on his yard. He gave me a lot of games. So now I slide into authority 2007. So now we're around May of 2007. So I take the wrong attitude into it. And I'm honest, straightforward, right? I got my own company. I could work when I want. I could be home when I want. Like, totally confused. Like, I had this game all backwards. So I did that. I tried that, right? And I was out of business in like 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, nah, it was crazy. I couldn't afford fuel. I couldn't do nothing because I took the mentality that I could shortchange myself. But I was giving everybody else my best. And I didn't give it to myself. So I was hung up on trucking, man.
Stop right there. What do you mean by that? How are you shortchanging yourself?
Well, okay, so when I worked for a company, if they told me I had to work this weekend, I worked that weekend. But for myself, I felt like I didn't have to work weekends. So I gave them something that I wasn't willing to give myself. So I had to step away and regroup and change my thought process. That right there made me realize at that point in my life, trucking wasn't for me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not feeling this. Now you got to realize I started from 19. Now it's 2007. So I can't remember how old I was. I'm 81. So I'm like 26 at the time. So there's been a grind already because I've been told, no, you can't do this. You're not old enough. I've been told, listen, our insurance won't cover you anymore. You have to go on your own. So I've been dealt a deck of cards that I felt like no spades was in it. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. Like I'm trying to pay spades with no spades, right? I can't cut nobody. So I step away. I decide I'm gonna do something different. Now during Katrina, I learned to weld. So I'm welding a little bit. I'm like, man, Joe, you should try that, right? So I step away. I go work at a shipyard for a couple months, and I realized quick that wasn't for me, right? Like them jacks is big, mad heavy. So anyway, so yeah, I step away for a while. I even did insurance. I sold insurance for a year. And what I wanted to do at that point was find myself. Like I really needed to tap into who I was and what I wanted out of life. I knew that everything that I did needed to circle around trucking in case I went back. So people say, how does welding circle around trucking? Well, when it cracks, you got to fix it. Right. How does insurance circle around trucking? You don't move without insurance. Facts. You know, I had already learned mechanic work as a kid because, again, my dad had his own business. So I had to learn to work on the trucks before I could drive them. So I'm a full service mechanic, rebuild engines, transmissions, rear ends. Now I weld because it's 2007. And now I understand insurance. So now I'm kind of putting all the pieces together to become who I'm going to be. Now, let's just be real. I did my homework, right? YouTube does not come out until 2005. Okay. So I'm trucking prior to YouTube. Right. We don't have resources like that. Like no one's giving you the game. No one's saying, listen, this is what it is. We don't have Romel saying, listen, this is trucking hustle, right? I got to figure this out. So my journey is longer because I'm walking through trial and error. So anyway, so let's get back to the story, right? So 2007, I break away. 2010, I decide, listen, let's get back into trucking. Now I was doing some driving, so I was still commercially using my license, but I was doing stuff like I sub with the school as a bus driver, you know, just pick up extra money on top of the insurance because I was used to making way more. So I needed the hustle. Even when I was welding, I left there and I went to school to do weld testing. So I'm actually certified to do weld testing, radiation, penetration, magnetic, visual. So it's 5 disciplines in it. And I've, mastered all 5. So after that, I'm like, man, you know, Joe, you're doing all this hard labor. You left the river to not have to do this. So I'm like, okay, I can't grow with a ceiling over me, and when a company is a ceiling to me, like it's like being an alligator in a damn glass thing. Like he won't outgrow his surroundings. So I knew I needed to get back to where I needed to be. It's 2010. My dad is real sickly now. I go and I visit him at the hospital, and I tell him, I said, Pops, I said, I'm about to get back into trucking. And he was like, yo, that's what's up. He was like, man, he said, come back and see me later. I need to talk to you about a surgery I'm having. And he's like, I want you to talk to your sisters. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I just call a meet. And I'm like, yo, everybody come to the thing. And on my way out, look, he was like, man, bring me some Popeye's chicken when you come back. And I'm like, Dad, I'm not bringing you Popeye's. Like, come on, that's why you in here, right? So, right. So I leave, man. And I call my siblings. I say, yo, let's meet at the hospital. Dad want to talk to us about something. So we all walk in the room, and he looking like, what's this? I'm like, well, Dad, did you say talk to them? He's like, yeah, no, I told you to talk to them. I ain't tell you bring everybody to the hospital. So I'm like, yo, look, we here. Yeah. So anyway, long story short, it was the last time I see my pops, right? He passed during a surgery that we ultimately came to the hospital to talk about. Oh, wow. So, you know, but I did get to tell him I'm going back into trucking, right? So Pops died. When he passed, he was involved in an accident, I want to say maybe a year before that, like a car accident. So when he passed, man, we have a meeting about the accident because now we got to resolve all his, you know, issues or whatever. And we learned that there's going to be a check, right? That's going to come to us. So my oldest brother is not for my dad, just me and my 3 sisters. So we all talk, and I have a conversation with him, and I say, hey, listen, this money is coming. Let's keep it together, and let's go back into trucking. So my sisters was like, nah, you know, them girls, you know, nah, I need my money, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I was like, yo, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my money, and I'm going to put more money with it, and I'm going to build me a company. But the thing I wanted to do was I wanted to build a company where my dad's name could continue to live, right? So that's what I decided to do. So my company is really 4J's Truck and Transport LLC, DBA Gibson Logistics, right? The 4 is for, I had 2 kids, my friend had 2 kids, and all their names started with a J. So we were going to go in business together. At the time, he decided he didn't want to do it, so I kept the name. And then I said, okay, well, my name is a J, my dad's name is a J, and my 2 kids are. So it's still 4 J's. So fast forward, I take that name in the business from 2007, and I come here and I said, let's DBA Gibson Logistics. Now that's my dad's name living on, right? Yeah. And I told my sisters, I said, I'm gonna build something that's gonna live forever. Now at the time, that check was like $7,000. I came back in the game with my own truck, 2011, after working for a company from 2010 to 2011. That company name was Beverly. Shout out to Beverly if y'all need any dirt work or anything. In New Orleans, they big in that area, right? So they gave me a shot. I drove for them for a year. It's 2011. Now I'm going back in business for myself. I take that $7,000. I ride bikes. I used to race, so I was real good with the bikes. So what I did, I built a bike. I went out there on the streets and I raced everybody. I knew they weren't gonna beat me, right? So you promote the bike and you make it seem fast, so people want to buy it. So then I just named my price. So I sell that bike. I take that cash. I take the cash from my dad. I file my taxes. One of the first time I ever had taxes, because most of the time I was self-employed. Take the taxes plus the cash I had saved. Now I'm sitting on 22 racks. Take that money. I go to a second chance trucking place, buy a truck. I don't have credit. I haven't used credit in years. Buy that truck. A good friend of mine, they call him Rookie, his name Wesley. He tells me, he say, man, look, I got a trailer you can use. Just take the trailer, we good. I take his trailer with my truck. I go back in, reactivate my authority 2011. Now, from there, I'm still here from 2011 now. So that's 12 years back in the industry. At that point, I tell myself, now I'm teetering 30, right? I'm like, you know what, Joe? It's either gonna make you or it's gonna break you.
We are here live at OTR Solutions HQ. I'm here with my partner, Jonathan. Man, listen, factoring is an integral part of the transportation industry. Why is factoring important?
Absolutely, Ramel. In this economy, in this market, cash flow is king. Cash flow is the key to growth. If you have a young trucking company, or if you've been in the industry for years and you want to take that business to the next level, we're absolutely a company that can help. We're a factory and provider that was born in trucking. So that's all we do. We focus, live, breathe the trucking industry. We offer fuel card solutions, freight through our partners at DAT, insurance, really any need that you have, we should have a solution to help you with it. So I hope you'll give us a call today. Let us know what we can do to help you out.
Get the rest and roll with the best. Let's go.
But one thing I knew, I had all that knowledge, all that experience, and then I had gained welding, I had gained, insurance, I had gained so much more that would make me more knowledgeable and more confident. That insurance, I had to go to school, I had to take a state test, I had to work amongst others, I had to go door to door and do sales. So now I'm prepared for what I'm about to face. So now I come back in industry, door to door sales. I know how to approach customers. I know how to talk to them, and I have to win you over. Like I tell people, if I work for State Farm, they walked in with the intent to spend money. When I pull up at your door, you just try to get home and cook for your kids. You don't want to talk to me. So I got to convince you in the 2 or 3 seconds you're going to give me that you should give me another minute or two.
That's right.
And then I have to convince you at that point, now you should give me another 10 or 15, 20 minutes so I can talk to you about these policies. And then after that, I have to convince you the value of buying a policy. And then lastly, I got to convince you to pay it every month.
Right.
Yeah. So transition that into the business. I have to convince you to give me your business and then move forward. So all that helped shape me. My truck break, I don't need a welder anymore. Look, 2005, Katrina hit. I buy a trailer. I'm going to help clean up the city. That same uncle that gave me the truck, he was a welder by trade. He comes over there to me every day. He give me 2 hours after work, right? I can't afford to pay a welder. I'm broke. He comes in, he gives me 2 hours. That's 30 minutes to drive to me, 30 minutes to drive home, and an hour to weld. I literally sat there 2 hours out of 24 hours and couldn't feed my family until that trailer was fixed. And I told myself, even though I appreciated my uncle for doing it because he didn't charge me, right? But I felt like I was failing my family, man. 22 hours, I'm gonna sleep 8. 8 from 22, what is that, like 14?
Yeah.
So it's 14 hours I sat around and twiddled my thumbs waiting on my uncle while he fed his family at work. And although I appreciated what he did, I felt like I was failing myself because if I could weld, it just took really 1 or 2 of them days, I would have been finished. Right. So I learned that I have to learn every facet of what I do. So now I don't contract nothing out. Taxes, I do them. Permits, I do it. I don't hire nobody for nothing that I can't do myself. I hire pilot cars. That same uncle, he retired. I built him a pilot car business. And I did that just for the sake of learning it. If you're gonna do something, you gotta master it, man. Like, I don't even respect you if you don't master your craft. Like, don't even come talk to me about what you're trying to do if you don't master your craft. I respect you as a man or a female, but when you talk to me about your industry, you should be able to explain every facet of the industry if you're doing it. And if you're not serious. You're wasting my time.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's the mindset. And there's no disrespect because it's internal. That's what I'm thinking. But I would never tell that to someone. But if you ask me, that's my opinion. You know, and that's really just my approach to the game. So that's how I approach it. So 2011, I'm back in the game, flatbed through and through. I lease on some trucks. 2014, I lease on a guy. Guy run with me, awesome guy. He's still in trucking now. He moved on to do his own thing, and I respect it, right? We talk till today. But 2011, I helped my cousin get in the game as well. He's still in the industry today. A lot of information I brought to the table, but we both grew in the industry together, knowledge and understanding. I don't think I'd be here without him. So shout out to him because he learned things and told me. I learned things and told him. And ultimately, we put all that together and both of us are still here. Right. So like I said, 2014, I leased on my first truck, put him in the game. 2017, I leased on my second truck. A good friend of mine's, we go back from 13, 14 years old. We don't talk anymore now, but at that time, 2017, I kind of ushered him into the game. He's still in the game. We park side by side. We're just not what we used to be.
Got it.
And then other than that, I'm here. So somewhere around that time, I jumped into heavy haul. And I had trained on it with Landstar in 05, but I didn't pursue it because it wasn't on my focal point, But my authority safety number shot up. When I leased my guy on in 2017, I leased a female on as well. And giving her a shot, man, she had some issues with her truck, but I just wanted to help her, right? Ultimately, that ran up my safety number. So what I did was I brought on a low boy because I wanted to get a trailer that I knew customers needed, so they couldn't reject me. They had to use me regardless because you need me and I need you.
Yeah.
That allowed me to reverse my safety numbers, brought my numbers down, and I just stayed in it. Realized the money I could make. That first trailer was a 2-axle trailer. I ultimately brought a flip for it, which made it a 3-axle trailer. And I mean, you fast forward to now, I mean, I'm running 11-axle setup, multi-axle with multiple pieces to it. The money is great. Family is fed. Trips are taken. Bank account getting dipped. You know what I'm saying? Yo, but I love my wife, man, right? Hey, I got the ring on. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my lovely wife, man.
No doubt.
We expecting May 5th, man.
Oh, man, congratulations.
Yeah, the last one, my ace. You know, my ace in the hole. So
that's what's up.
Yeah. So that's my story, man. That's the story.
Nah, that's amazing. All right, so let's rewind just a little bit.
Okay.
When you got back in the game, you started with flatbeds?
Yeah, I came straight out in the flatbed.
You came straight in the flatbed. You said you had some previous training with Landstar, so that's like strapping, tarping, all that stuff, right? Okay.
And first experience on flatbed with Dallas and Mavis, 2003.
Okay.
They just threw me out there. Like, yo, just anything that looked like it's gonna fall off, put a strap on it. I was like, okay.
Got it.
I survived.
All right. So you purchased a flatbed trailer?
Borrowed one from my
trailer?
friend, yeah.
All right. And what was the reason for going with flatbeds to start out?
Okay, so like in the New Orleans area, flatbed is king. You know, we have the oil field that's always booming, right? The ports, just a lot of things that need to get moved, because you got to realize, like, when you have heavy equipment, sometimes they have to remove the attachments. So flatbed makes its money. When you got cranes, they have to remove the counterweights. So it's just a ton of work for that, because it's refineries, it's a lot. You know, so that is the freight of choice in my area, from Houston to probably Jacksonville, Florida.
Got it. And at this point, where are you finding your work and the opportunities?
So at this point, I'm primarily just strictly on the load board. It was Get Loaded back then, right? And then 1-2-3 board or something like that came out.
Board,
yeah, 1-2-3 load board. And then from there, I eventually moved over to Truck Stop. I did try. There's another one out there. I don't use any of them. Yeah, that. I don't like that. So no disrespect. It just ain't my speed, right? I think I'm gonna tell you what it is, right? I think this is what it is.
Oh,
I think if you like
everybody,
I think if you like low board, you kind of don't like that. And if you like that, you don't like low board.
Like
I mean,
Pepsi, you don't like Coke. If you like Sprite, you don't like.
I'm loyal,
Sierra
right?
Mist.
I'm loyal. Yeah, it's truck. Yeah, look, I wear a Truck Stop hat, right? When we met in Miami, right? I got their hat. I wear it every day. Like, I'm loyal. You know what I'm saying?
What's up.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any one particular feature that makes you like that over the others? Or just why you don't like one and you like the other, just for people to know and maybe consider?
Right. Good question. So let me tell you why I chose flatbed, which is what I think you're asking me, right? Because it keeps you in shape. Like, the money is there, and like, I love the work. Like, I want to get out and throw my tarp. I want to get out and do that, you know. Like, I'm 42, man. I don't have a gut, you know what I'm saying? So I'm in shape, you know, and it works, you know. But honestly, and then outside of that, I looked at the money, the possibilities. I always was fascinated with oversized. Never thought about heavy haul, because heavy haul is oversized, but it's not oversized. Like, that's not all it entails. When I say oversized, anything wider than the width of the trailer, you're oversized. Anything taller than what they require, you're oversized. So I always was fascinated with that. And you can't do that with a dry van. And then lastly, I don't do freight. Like, $2 a mile and less, like, that's crazy. Like, how you make money, even when fuel is cheap.
Right.
So, you know,
right.
That's why I went with flatbed, or just specialized, you know, freight. So,
okay, cool. I was actually asking about the low board, but that was a good answer. I was saying why you like the other low boards over the other one.
Oh, low boards. Okay, yeah.
I'm glad you answered that too.
Okay, well, yeah, low board. This is why I like Truck Stop back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and we ain't promoting Truck Stop because they ain't paying us. But go ahead, tell them.
Right, so cut it. Right, cut it out. Right,
but go ahead and tell them anyway.
Like
just to keep it real, you know.
Okay, so this is why I like one low board or the other.
Yeah,
I say it like that, right?
Yeah.
The reason why is because back then, on the one that I do like, I used to be able to search the whole playing field. Since then, that has changed, right? So what I mean by that is, I used to be able to search anywhere to anywhere and just put the trailer I want, and I could watch the whole landscape of freight. I can watch loads moving from Seattle to Oregon and so on and so forth. Okay, the one that I don't use, they wouldn't allow you to do that. They were already ahead of the game. And I'm good with that, because from a competitive edge, now I know how to find these loads, how to search and do research. Because, yo, I don't want cats on the East Coast making, 30 grand a load and I'm down here making 10. So I need to know that they're making that kind of money up there so I could charge them that down here, right?
Makes
So
sense.
that was why I liked that board, because it gave me so much insight. And I'm an information junkie. Like, I retain stuff at alarming rates. So that was why, right?
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right, cool. And now you say you don't really even use the load boards at all, right?
No, I use them.
you
I
still
use
use
them.
them?
Yeah. So what happens is I survive off loads, direct customers, and email.
Okay.
I hear a lot of people say direct shipper, direct shipper. Let me be honest with you. I'm never bidding on no direct freight. Like, what I mean by that is to be dedicated. So I should say dedicated freight.
Okay. And why?
But think about it. So how does a bidding process go? We all put in a bid and they choose people of a certain caliber, but the cheapest one. I don't ever want to be the cheapest one. Okay, so
What about consistency?
True.
That's why you do direct freight, right?
okay, so check this out. That same person who's looking for consistency, right? When their stuff is no longer capable to haul the freight, they're gonna call me. My freight my equipment will always be intact. It will always be in good shape. My tires last longer. My maintenance is always kept. And I don't have to do it as frequent as the guy that runs every day. See, the thing is this. If you haul a load for 600 and I haul a load for 1,800, you're doing 3 to 1.
True.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just clean up every time you ain't available. I'm going to work for a core base of about 200 companies, but on average about 60 per year. I'll silence customers at times when they won't pay my freight. I won't even entertain them. Because I want that customer, just like that customer is trying to impose his will on me, I'm imposing mine back on them. So what happens is when you call me with cheap freight, like, I just stop taking their call. One thing I know, I got something you need. I got 11 axles. I got a beam trailer. I can put 53 feet in my well. And I ain't trying to sound cocky because, behind closed doors, business get ugly. We all walk out smiling, shaking hands and smiling, taking pictures with the camera. But behind them closed doors, we talking business. And I'm telling you, listen, like, my kids are trying to eat. My kids want to go to college too. So behind that door, I'm trying to take his head off like he's trying to take mine off.
Right.
And we doing it with a smile, with a button down, and we sitting in our seats. But we looking across that table like, if you show weakness, I'm gonna eat. So like for me, I do consistent freight, but my motto is this: I only do business with people who want to do business. If you plan and you putting loads up for half the price, I'm not calling you, I'm not entertaining you. I'll look at the load and let you know I see you. And then after that, I'm gonna move on. One of my rule of thumbs is this. People say, Joe, if you make so much money in heavy haul, why do you still do flatbed, step deck, and power only? And the reason why I do that, because that controls the market. If I only have the heavy haul trailer, right? And I have to work that trailer because bills are due, insurance. There are monthly bills that has to get paid. So you have to generate money, right? So that flatbed, that step deck, and that power only allows me to generate money even when that heavy haul is not moving. None of them are going to pay that note every month for a year, but all of them could pay that note for 2 or 3 months in a row. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's my way of silencing heavy haul shippers who won't pay the correct price. They know what it costs. They're not discounting permits. They're not discounting fuel. They're not discounting insurance. So I have to incorporate that amount at least into the price, right? Okay, truck maintenance, because when the federal motor carrier brings you in for an audit, you had better have receipts.
That's right.
And if you don't have receipts, well, how are you maintaining your truck? Or are you not maintaining your truck? So let's go do an inspection. So I have to incorporate maintenance. Now, lastly, my kids are going to eat before all of that. So that's primarily on the list. What I take home. So now, what could I cut out of the price? There's nothing I could cut out. So I need what I need. You know what I'm saying? So that's why for me, I take it so serious. And that's why for me, I have other equipment to say, okay, heavy haul's not paying. Cool. Flatbed is. Yeah. Step deck is. Power only is. So I silence customers all the time, not because I want to be a butthole or arrogant or cocky. I'm not arrogant or cocky. I put the work in. I know what I'm doing. Right. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, and I teach this to people who will listen, like, it's not all about heavy haul. You have to do other things. It is about heavy haul. It's great to get a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 check. But let's just be honest. How often they're going to pay you that if you're at their doorstep every day looking for a load? Like, who's giving away 40? Who's giving away 50? Right. I ain't giving it away. You need me? Okay, I'll tell you what, do it for 20. This is a $50,000 load. Why would I do it for 20? How am I gonna eat? You figure it out. So what I do is, I ain't at your doorstep. I'm going to do step deck. Well, how am I gonna get these loads moved? Pay 50. How can I pay 50? I don't know. You figure it out. Right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and, it's a no-brainer, man. Listen, you got to do business, but you do it with a smile. Then I look at them and I smile.
Now let me ask you. I mean, do you really have that kind of leverage in terms of like, you know, like with the equipment that you have? There's not a lot of guys out there like you, I'm assuming.
Right. No, it's not. Okay, so for what I do, normally it doesn't have to get that ugly. Most customers know that, hey, yo, this guy has something I need. In order for him to get to this level, he has to have a certain level of intellect, intelligence, and of course, most importantly, experience. So they're gonna respect you from the gate. Like, I'm not arguing with customers. Like, I'm just telling you the mindset.
Right.
Okay, now the actual experience is, hey, how are you? Yeah, we're gonna get this done today. Yeah, that's great. What time you wanna pick up? That's how that conversation goes. What do you need to do it? I need this. Okay, let me talk to my customer. Call back. Hey, they're gonna pay. And that's what the conversation is like. Yeah. So yeah, it's not a lot of headbutt, man. We might argue more doing the load than trying to get the load. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's great. Like, once you get to that level, it's great because, I mean, honestly, I would venture to say I'm top 5 in my industry, right? And I'm not talking about major companies. I'm talking about independents who drive every day, but yet own the type of equipment that I own, right? And I'll also go on a limb and say this. I'm top 5, but I've never met 1, 2, 3, or 4. But I don't want to disrespect nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm top 5, you know what I'm saying? So now with that being said,
I like that.
Yeah, I never met him. You know what I'm saying? So when I meet him, I'll take my place. But until then, I'm top 5, but I ain't met the other ones yet.
Got it.
It's a lot of guys that's doing great work. But I guess the difference with why I say what I say and why I stand on where I stand is because I've met guys that have more expensive freight than me, pull bigger loads, but they work for a company. I've met guys who have their own authority, but they don't pull what I pull. So I've really put it all together from multi-axle, own authority, and I literally, as they say in England, I literally do everything. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, I do everything. So I'm not weak in any area. I don't have to wait on anyone. I mean, we all know time is money, right? So I don't have to wait on a tire man. I don't have to wait on nobody. When I need to build my deck, right? When I first got my deck cut and modulated, is what it's called, and got my beam made, I called the wrecker. The wrecker charged me $450 to literally pull up in my yard from 10 minutes away, use his boom to lift up, and he used my chains, right? $450. I'm thinking to myself, how much is a forklift note? So I went and brought a forklift. I ain't pay a note, I paid cash, but I went and brought a forklift because, like, yo, that $450 is a car note for my wife or a car note for my daughter. And it's not that I'm opposed to letting people make money, but what I am opposed to is letting them make money off my back. You see what I'm saying? So what I want to do, I want to pay people, but I want to pay them for the work that they actually do, not for the work that I do. Like it's like I'm already getting robbed by my wife and my kids, right? Now I'm gonna let the industry take the rest. Like, yeah, nah, like you know how that go. But look, hey babe, I love you, right? But yeah, nah, they ain't playing. Like my daughter, man, I flew up to Buffalo and brought a brand new car, right? I brought a Jetta, and I went in there with a check. Like I told her, I said, look, when you become a junior, senior, I'll buy your car. And yes, my daughters get new cars and my sons get used. No question. Like they don't help me turn wrenches. So I said, well, look, I'm gonna help you turn wrenches on that used car.
There it is.
So anyway, my daughters get new cars. So my baby girl 18, she's graduating. I brought her a new car. And but she put the work in, man. She getting scholarships. She's doing great. She's going to a good school, and she earned it. Like my out of pocket is minimal. But I say that to say this. That's how you do that. Like I'd be remiss, and I have to say this, and I hope it don't bother you. But I work with a company called OnSite. That's part of their name. And I can't do the interview without saying this because I do power only, flatbed, step deck, RGN, and whatever else they need me to do. But when I give them a price, they honor it. These guys, Texas guys, some from Vegas. And when they came in my state, they took on a multi-million-dollar project and no one would help them. I mean, literally, like they in the state begging for help. Like, yo, we paying. Like, why I'm begging? I'm paying. And people was like, nah, like, We didn't get the contract. Why would we help you? So it was an out-of-state company that won a contract in our state. Is what it was. So they was like slightly offended, like, well, we didn't win, so they made it difficult for them. I helped them. So when I helped them, they've been mad loyal to me. There's not one load that leave their facility that I don't get first dibs on. And if I turn it down, they call me for the next. Right. If I take it, cool. And my guy, Mark, I love him, bro. Good guy, great guy. I went to a banquet with them, and I got to meet the VPs, the owner of the company. He knows me by first name. Great company, great people, and I can't go through this without mentioning them. No doubt. So anyway, shout out to them. But with that being said, I make a ton of money with them, man. Like sometimes I might go through phases where I just don't work for a company, and they using me, man. They paying me $40 a month. You see what I'm saying? Just doing what they need me to do. And it's not a lot of work. Like I might move a couple trailers from one place to the next, and it's all love. You know what I'm saying? They're taking care of people who took care of them. Yeah. You know, so shout out to them. Right now we're in talks about something big. I won't mention that, but we're in talks about something big, and they're looking at changing my future now.
Okay.
So
now we got a deal on the table. I like
big
that.
Deal. Other than that, man, it's just chasing the bag, being focused. Heavy haul is a great industry. I tell a lot of people, master your craft and you could do good. Yeah. I don't do programs and stuff like that, but I do entertain questions and stuff like that. I don't do the programs because I have a lot of things that I've gained over the years, a lot of formulas I use and things of that nature that I don't give out. Because at the end of the day, it's a business and it's competition. So I can't sell you something and withhold. I don't think that's fair. So I don't do the programs, but I do answer questions. I made a lot of money in this industry. I've been very successful. And I feel that you have to give back because my kids may not be as successful in this world, but they still gonna have to live in it. So you do enough favor, show enough love, and one day they can say my name and somebody will say, man, I knew your dad, man, he was a great guy. Let me help you. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So now it's more about giving back, you know what I'm saying, and helping other people. I mean, my company is very successful. If I push it, you know, doing $1 million a year is easy. You know, it's nothing. Even on my lazy years, you know, I'll do $250,000 to $500,000. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because of the equipment that I have. I mean, just let this sink in, right? I can do one load a week. And on average, I can do 20 to 40 a week. You know what I'm saying? And so, well, 1 week. It might be 2 loads. But in 1 week, I could do those type of numbers. So more often than not, now my home time is great. I'm home. I can pick my daughter up and bring her to school and, you know, and go to all her events and take field trips. And that's what you're working for, right? To get to that level of comfort where you can literally relax and be that father you want to be. For sure. Yeah, so that's more my focal point. I am looking to grow. I'm looking to add on and continue because at some point I have to get from behind the wheel. But I do want to grind until I'm 50. I'll be 42 next month, so I got 8 more years. I'll put that time in. And then from there, look, I want to go on vacation while I'm on vacation after that. You know what I'm saying? People like, what does that mean? Like, I want to go to Africa for a month. And while I'm in Africa, I want to take a trip to Spain for a week. You see what I'm saying? So that's vacation while you're on vacation. You want to live. Yeah, I want to live. Yeah, and I could do it now, but, you know, I still got work to do. Yeah. You know, I mean, I'm good, but my kids are not good. For sure. You know what I'm saying? You know, what my wife and I require, you know, I got 5 now with the one coming. So, you know, splitting with 2 half for 5, that's a whole different ballgame, you know? So, but other than that, man, I love what I do. Heavy haul is great, bro. It's a great industry. I just tell people, you know, definitely learn what you need to learn. Get in those permit books and learn them. Stop using these permit agencies, and no disrespect to them. I know they're trying to feed their family, but everyone's not going to take this advice. But for those who will, learn the permit system. Learn all the rules. You don't have to run all 48 connected states to make your money, because when you get to the level I'm at, it's so much homework you have to do. You're not going to want to do it for all states unless that load pushes you to that limit. So in other words, let's just say going to Cali is $100,000 load. But if I could do 100 right here in the time that it takes me to go to Cali, why do I want to go to Cali for the money when I'm going to make it right here? Right. Okay. So now what I mean by pushing me, they might add another 50. I'm going to Cali. That's right. Yeah, I'm on my way. So now I have to do that homework. And I've done oversized loads all over Midwest. I've been to Cali with loads all up and down the East Coast. I would say highest for the type of loads that I'm doing now would be Maryland, the DMV area, Baltimore, Washington, stuff like that. Okay. And man, I've been successful. I can't complain. Like, I sit here feeling totally content and appreciating your platform. No doubt. Well, I still want to get into some more stuff. I'm gonna pick your brain a little bit. Let's get it. All right. So first of all, you said learn the permit system. Where do you learn that? Trial and error. Like, okay, so initially, this is what people have to understand about permits. You are doing the work.
Right.
Okay. What does permit entail? Measurements, right? Who's taking those measurements? You are. Okay. What you're doing is you're doing all the work and then you're handing it to someone because you're saying basically, I don't feel confident enough to go on this computer and learn that software. Now, I break it down into those little small nuances because I want them to understand how simple the process is.
Right.
Okay, what do? You call that state. Hey, I want to start a permit account. What's required? You tap in with them. They tell you this is the requirement. Submit this. We'll activate your account. We'll send you something in your email when it's done. It'll take it may take an hour. Some may take 24. No problem. They send you back a username and a password. Okay. Now you go into it and you play with the computer, learn it, master it. At that point, people say, man, Joe, why would I want to do that? Well, last time I checked, the cheapest companies are charging you $33 a permit. The more expensive is charging you upwards of $50, right? So you're paying $50 and that's per state. So if you do 5 states at $50 a state, yeah, you sounding like you're rich, but you giving money away. Like money, that's like, to me, that's crazy. More often than not, you know in advance what the load is, what the dimensions is, and things of that sort. I talked to a friend of mine. He's out of Miami, right? He was in Texas, and I won't say his name because I don't want to put him out there like that. But he was in Texas, and he was like, yo, Joe, I had to reorder all permits. And I'm like, how do you do that? He was like, well, it was Thursday. I picked the load up on Friday, and I had to order all my permits. And I think he ordered them on Thursday, but he was traveling through on Friday. And I'm like, yo, well, permit offices weren't closed on Friday. How do you like that? Didn't even make sense. Like, he had to explain to me how he did that. He was like, yo, the permit agency ordered all my permits. I said, so let this sink in. You picked up a machine. They gave you dimensions. When you made it to the machine, you remeasured to confirm what they gave you. But because you had ordered permits in advance, now you're stuck with those permits. So Louisiana, that permit could have been $1,300. For the same permit, that could have been $280. Well, if you're paying $1,300, you're pretty heavy. So at that point, you're probably paying $360 in Texas. That same permit in Mississippi, if you're going a certain direction because it's by the mile, could be anywhere from $200 to $1,000 as well. So just let that sink in, the money, right, that you just spent, and you pre-ordered it for something you never seen. But this is the thing: if you were ordering them yourself, what you could have done was, if you're picking up in Texas, order the Texas one as soon as you get there. As soon as you pull up, measure, order. If it take them 2 hours to get you the permit, because you must know each state and how long it takes them to give you a permit. Texas, you can get the permit on a computer instantly. Why would you ever pre-order it? Louisiana, instantly. Mississippi, instantly. Alabama, within 2 hours. Georgia, instantly. Florida, you do it online yourself. It's instantly. South Carolina, 48 hours. If you don't do the permits yourself, you don't know this information. So now you're less likely to be successful. People want to know what creates success: knowledge, right? So become more knowledgeable. With the permit system, if you ordered Texas when you got there, as you drive, you could be getting Louisiana done. You got 2-3 hours to the state line from Houston. Get the Louisiana one done then, because it's instantly anyway. I know that 48 hours I need to get South Carolina done, but by the time I order this permit in Texas, hell, it'd be done in 48 hours before I get to South Carolina anyway. Yeah. So you see how I'm able to plan better because I know the rules of every state. Right. That changes the game.
It does change the game. So typically most guys just pre-order everything.
No, they don't do anything. They call a permit agency and say, here's my dimensions. I'm going through this state, that state, and that state.
And then the permit company will take it.
And they takes it from there, which eliminates your ability to understand. So what they say, man, South Carolina take forever. How long is forever? Well, I don't know. They take forever. No, they take 48 hours. You see what I'm saying? That's what the knowledge does for you. So when you're talking to people, you understand their level of understanding throughout the industry based off the work they put in. I didn't know nothing about none of this. Right. But because I put the work in and I wasn't afraid to fail, listen, let me mess up on one permit. I heard my guy Waz say $10,000 for a fine, right? But I'm gonna pay that $10,000 one time and it's gonna educate me forever. If it comes to that, right? Because you're not gonna get caught every time you make a mistake. I did a load to Georgia. I was being lazy. So in Georgia, if you're over 150,000 pounds, you can't use a quad axle setup. That means 4 axles for those who don't understand quad, right? So you have to use a 3+1, meaning 3 axle grouping. Those axles has to be so close for it to be considered a group. Then from there, you have a stinger. that stinger has to be so far away from those three to not be included in the group. Okay. If you're under 150,000 pounds, you can pin all four together, remove the stinger, and go with it. I was lazy one day. I ordered permits for Georgia. Well, I went to order permits for Georgia, and I had a 4-axle group and at 152, 153,000 pounds. They tell me, nah, you're not getting a permit. You're not coming in our state. Now, I'm not going to tell y'all how I cleaned up the mess, but what I will tell y'all is this. I cleaned up the mess.
Right.
With that being said, 1 minute of being lazy can change your whole situation, because this is the thing. You might run Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, right? And you don't go to Georgia for a year. In a year, that rule could have changed, or you could be mistaken what Mississippi do for Georgia. So you have to constantly refresh your knowledge. And if you're doing what you say you're doing, which is running a company, how do you not know these things? Right. So that's why I question the knowledge. So that's why I don't get in a rat race of who's the best. I don't want to compete, man. Let's just get money and get rich.
No doubt.
Yeah. So when I see something pop up in Miami, I call my brother Wad. Look, yo, they're making money. Did you see this? When he sees something pop up in my city, yo, Joe, go get that load. It's not competitive. We want to win together. Yeah. We can laugh at the top like Coke and Pepsi.
Nick, what is Fleet Drive 360?
It's hard to put that into one sentence. The compliance process is so complex. So what Fleet Drive 360 does is it makes it simple. It gives you a process and a foundation that you can build on, and it allows you to hire your drivers, onboard them quickly, maintain their compliance documents throughout the life of that driver or that vehicle. And it gives you one place to go when things get crazy, one place to go to find out the compliance status of your entire business. What it is that one-stop shop for all your compliance needs.
No doubt. I love that. And just for anybody, because we kind of started at the permits, what are those permits for? Just so everybody clearly understands what those permits do, and when you're actually, ordering them, what information are you putting in there?
Cool. Good question. Okay, so permits is for basically the safe transport of loads from one end of their state to the other, and if you're going all the way through. What it does is it gives you routing information to keep you on route. The reason why you need to be on route, real brief, if you're 15 feet and they got a 14-foot bridge, it stops you from hitting the bridge, right? It gives you a lot of information. One thing people don't understand because they don't pull heavy, it tells you when you're going over this bridge, slow down to 5 miles an hour. It may tell you back up all traffic and take up all lanes. So then that brings ushers in the pilot car, which is I'm sure you'll dig into as well, right? But staying on topic with permits, what it does, it allows you to safely transport that load from A to B with the information about that state that you wouldn't have because you're not a resident.
It's like an itinerary, basically.
It's itinerary, exactly. And the information that it entails, you're gonna put, your length, your width, your height, your weight, but then going more in depth, you need to know how much weight you can put on each axle. And that's what you'll provide. It'll ask you about tire width. It'll ask you about axle width. So it's a host of information that they require, and that it's all done basically just to make sure you can safely transport that load. But one of the more important questions they ask you is about tire ratings, because what a lot of people don't understand, they talk about axle rating. Well, the axle is not as much in trouble as the tire, because hypothetically you have a 12,000 pound axle, but you have a 6,600 pound tire, 2 tires on the front, both of them are 6,600, what is like 13,200, right? It will be the maximum weight. Yeah. Well, they'll give you that leverage if those tires can handle it. So it's not as much a hinge on the axle per se, as long as you're only going over, because a 12,000 pound axle probably realistically is rated for 14. So if you go 13,200, because the tires are rated that much, they'll work with you more often than not. So it's just a lot of information that they take in, and then they process that information, and then they kick out your permit based off the route they want to send you, keeping you off little small bridges, light bridges that can't handle the weight, keeping you out of residential, keeping you on route with truck stops. All this is planned. Truck stops are built on that route. Rest areas are built on that route. And a lot of the times it keeps you off the interstate. So public safety is important. So it's just a lot that comes into it that they want to know. And I love it. I love the permit system. It's extremely helpful.
And it's extremely important that you give them all the right, accurate information too.
Yes, sir.
If you don't, I'm sure that could kind of throw you off
It's gonna tell on itself because, like, hypothetically, like we say, if you're going on a road where you're 15 tall and they got a 14-foot bridge and you cheat in the system, when you get there, if you're not paying attention, you just gonna smack right into the bridge. So more often than not, insurance prices are inflated based strictly off the fact that people either don't get a permit or they lie about their permit. If you're gonna lie about your permit,
I was gonna say, why would you lie about your permit?
Because of cost, right? So you have states that's based on mileage and weight. Louisiana is one. I want to say Tennessee is one. Mississippi is one. And what they do is they take the amount of weight you put on their highway and the amount of mileage that you're planning to do it, from A to B, and then they give you a price. So you will want to manipulate the price manipulate the permit because it affects the price.
How much are you saving by doing that?
Probably nothing once you get caught.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is it worth it? Right?
Nah.
Like, what's the point?
I'm gonna say this in the beginning for guys who are hustling, not making a lot of money, don't know how to price it. Yeah, it's worth it for them. Because you think about it, if they save $800 on a permit, that could have been their fuel. Do I promote it? Nah. So I'm not gonna get in depth why it makes sense too much because I don't want to promote it.
You
right?
don't want nobody to be like, oh, that's
I
a
don't
good
get
idea,
to be
right?
Yeah. So let's keep the highways safe, right?
For
My
sure.
family drive on them. So but nah, they have their reasons why they do it. It's a lot of renegades out there, and I hope it's less than what I think it is. Put it like that,
Okay. All right, got it. I want to kind of go back into your beginnings when you first got into heavy haul.
Okay.
Right? You transitioned out of the flatbed trailer and you bought your heavier trailer, right?
Correct.
Can you tell me about that? What was the cost to get into that? Like, how much did your insurance bump up? Just kind of give me like how that transition went.
So, all right. So this is how that works, right? You get the vision, I want to upgrade. So you go buy that trailer. That trailer for me, my first trailer was $85,000, right? It was a stretch RGN, 20-something model, whatever it was. Or no, it was a 19 model, I want to say. 2019 or 2020. So anyway, I buy that trailer. Yeah, it was a new trailer, yeah. What it was a new trailer that had sat for a while. So I want to say, it must was older than that. I can't remember the year. But it was a trailer that I purchased, brand new. It was a stretch. So it was 29 feet in the well closed, 50 feet open. So I'm thinking, man, I want to get in a heavy haul. Initially, I wanted the most universal trailer because I wanted to make sure I can haul enough stuff to make money to pay for it. So I go into it. I have a 2014 model 386, I think it is, Peterbilt, and I still have that truck now. So that was my initial cost. The truck was 3 axles. The trailer was 2. Ultimately, I did a load out to Richmond, Virginia, where I brought an axle from another guy, and that axle was for sale. If y'all looking, right? Gotta plug it.
No doubt.
So anyway, so I buy that axle. So now I'm 6 axles, right? Doing a lot of loads, and I'm looking at that load board, right? And I'm saying, damn, if I could haul more, because my trailer was a 40 ton, so if I could haul more, man, I could get this other load, right? So that's the build up for the next trailer to come. But anyway, so that was my initial startup. And I'm sorry, what was the other half of that question you asked me?
So I was just saying, just the transition. How much did it cost? Did you have an insurance bump in getting that new trailer?
So it's definitely an insurance bump.
Yeah.
But let's break down why.
Yeah.
Okay. The way insurance works is they're insuring your risk. So anything you increase, of course, you pay more. They're not necessarily worried about the commodity so much, but the customer will demand a certain cargo amount, which will ultimately bump your coverage. So what I mean by that is this. Had I kept all coverages identical to flatbed, the only thing I would have had to increase was physical damage. Physical damage, of course, y'all know it covers the value. So if I had a $10,000 trailer prior and now I'm covering a $85,000 trailer, but with interest, $120, right? Because they taxed me on this trailer. So my payoff was $120. So now I have to insure it up to $120,000. So now let's talk about how that works. A company will submit a number to you. It might be like 3%, 4% of actual value. So 4% of 10,000 is nothing. 4% of 120,000 is a lot more. So at that point, automatically physical damage raises, right? Now let's talk about cargo. Most cargo coverage is 100,000. That's all required. Right. So you buy 100,000, and now once you cross over into heavy haul, they want 250. At that time, what I was doing was I would buy an additional policy to cover the difference prior to me bumping the coverage because I brought the trailer midways of my policy. So instead of making the changes, and I didn't need it all the time, I would buy additional policy. I would go online. There's a couple places that sell them. I don't want to plug them, but find your place. Tap in with them, and they'll sell you the additional portion. Now, what I mean by that is the The load requires 250. You have 100,000. You go on and buy another 150. More often than not, they'll tell you you have to buy the whole 250 from them. That's a lie. But what I will say is, if you're unsure and uncertain about that load, go ahead and buy the whole 250. That way, if anything happens, it's their problem, and you and your insurance company just continue. So you kind of remove it. It's kind of like renting a car. You put your insurance on it, or you can buy their insurance. Their insurance, you walk away clean. Your insurance, you deal with it down the road. So that's what I would say to that. But that is what makes the cost go up. Not necessarily the risk. The risk is the risk just by you being on the highway. So the liability and all that stuff, comprehensive, all that doesn't change. It's more physical damage and cargo, to answer your question. And that's why they go up. Okay.
Makes sense. So you get rolling. Where do you first start getting work from?
Man, on my way home with that trailer, I look on the load board. I find my first load on the way home. Now, ultimately what I did, I picked up my trailer in Houston. I live in New Orleans, 5-hour drive. My first load came out of Lafayette, Louisiana, and I bypassed it so I can go show my family because I'm big on that. Like, my wife, my kids has to see it first. Yeah. So I go all the way home. I pass it up. I tell the people, look, I'm going to pick it up tomorrow. It's like, it's Saturday. You don't want to get it today? I'm like, nah, I'm getting it tomorrow. My wife, kid, they seeing this trailer, right? So we go there, man. We take pictures on it. I'm ecstatic, right? I'm moving up, right? So, we do that. We do the thing with that. I pick up my next load out of Lafayette, Louisiana. What it was a paver. So the first load was a paver, a road paver that does asphalt. I went on to make good money with that company, but that was my first load, yeah. And it went from Lafayette to Clinton, Mississippi, which is just by Jackson, just west of Jackson, Mississippi, by about 10, 15 miles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. All right. So you start to, get into the game, and that becomes your thing, right? But you still delve into the flatbed a little bit, and you're still diversified and all that, right?
Yeah, I'm still diversified because what a lot of people don't understand about buying a new trailer is you go on a war, is really what it is, right? A financial war and a mental war. Someone was hauling that load before you. That load was getting moved, right? So now you're trying to take it from someone else. So how do you war, right? Like, you have to make money over here to invest money over there. So the reason why I do the flatbed, the step decks, and the power only, even still to today, is because, like I said, it controls pricing. It controls my ability to be successful while I wait on something. In this case, wait on price to go up now, but back then it was wait on freight to even come to me. So the flatbed, step deck, and all that other stuff supplemented the lowboy because customers don't know you exist. People think that when you buy a trailer, I'm about to make money. But these people don't know you even have a trailer. Like, they don't know you in this lane. They know you for flatbed. So now you have to go back and reiterate everything that you're doing now that's new. So that's why, like, a lot of people be like, man, they want me to fill out this carrier packet, and they try to bypass pages. No, tell them now that you have the low boy. Tell them you have this. Tell them you have that, because that's how they know to look for you and target you for those loads. So that's what I had to do. I had to reshape their thought process of me, that now I have the equipment that they need. And the flatbed allowed me to be successful until I can build business for the low boy.
Yeah.
And that's why I continue now. I'm almost afraid to let flatbed and step that go because I know what it really can do for me. Look, I drive 2 trucks, right? I have a regular flatbed truck and trailer or a step deck flatbed. I keep extra for myself. So what happens is, my truck was down all last year. I paid insurance and it just sat there, right? And my wife and my kids telling me what they want to do. They want to go here. They want to do this. My mom, I buy her a car, so I pay her a note. And everybody, I'm looking out for my fam, right? And I'm like, damn, I'm missing this money, man. Like, this truck is sitting. That's my little 2,000 pop, 1,500 pop, where my daughter want to do pictures for graduation. I just go run that truck and make the money. But the heaven hard money is for me. They know that, right? So so I miss it, and that's the value of it. Like, it makes you money. If you could do a certain amount of numbers with the truck per year, and I'm a principal person, so I have rules for everything, right? But if you could do a certain amount of money per year with that truck, I don't see how you not be successful if everything pays for itself. Quickly, the principle for that is this. If I pay $40,000 for that truck must make me $40,000 every year. That's my minimum. If I paid $10,000 for that flatbed, and I'm saying that because I brought equipment back in the day as well. So if I paid $10,000 for that flatbed, it must make me $10,000 a year. But this is the reason why. You pay for something on average 5 to 6 years, whatever you finance it for, right? So what I learned was I had to find ways to be successful. So the thing that I learned about that principle rule is this. Let's just say I'm paying $40,000 for the vehicle. I got 5 years to pay for it. If I make 40,000 each one of those years with that piece of equipment, right? 1 year go to them, 4 go to me. How successful can you be if you made 4 times the cost of that truck and you kept it and only gave them 1 year? So I have to make that. If I buy a $250,000 trailer, which is I have, my big trailer now costs that kind of money, I'm going to get $250,000 with it. So when it's all said and done, in 5 years, they took 250, I took $1 million. In 5 years, I made $1 million just off that piece of equipment.
Yeah.
That's not including everything else. Yeah. That's how you build success. You have to set principles, because if not, you're just out there winging it. You know, you're just like, oh, I'm gonna see what I can make today. No, I ain't trying to see nothing. I need to make this.
No doubt.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you customers now. If I do a load for 1,000 on Monday and 1,000 on Tuesday, and my goal is to hit 10, somebody's giving me 8 this week. I'm just being honest. Say like, how you get your pricing? Look, I'm short $8,000. It's Wednesday. What we doing? And my customers knows this. Like I told my customer on site one time, he was like, yo, Joe, how much you gonna charge me? I said, well, you know, this week I need to get to 7, right? So either you got a lot of loads you want me to move, or you paying 7 for this one. And he just, look, Mike just looks at me and he just say, well, you know what? Mark just looks at me. He said, well, you know what, Joe, that's Mike's decision, because Mike's the owner, right? He said, you know, it's Mike's decision. And Mike just come back and say, who is that, Joe? Yeah, give it to him. Like, this sucker worth $100 million. Like, I ain't hurting you, man. Pay me, man.
Right.
You know, but all jokes aside, yeah, I'm for real though. Yeah, somebody's giving me that out of 8. I'm getting a 10 this week, period. Gotcha. You know, and it's fun and games, man. You have some good days and some bad days. So, but.
And now a quick segment from our sponsor, Roll by ADP.
So I'm here with Joe Gibson from Gibson Logistics. Joe, as a small trucking company, would it be easier for you if you're able to run your payroll from your smartphone or a tablet?
Wow. Never thought about that one. Yeah, that'd be dope. Do it on the move, not have to be relegated to a desk. Yeah, that's awesome. I would definitely take advantage.
What are some features or capabilities that you're looking for when managing payroll?
I love direct deposit, but if I have to do checks, cutting checks digital is awesome, because you can just print them and then ship them off. So that would be a lot easier, because I have to handwrite any check I do right now. So.
Thanks to our segment sponsor, Roll by ADP. Check out the link in the description for more information.
In your in heavy haul, do you look at it like rate per mile when you're pricing, or how do you look at pricing?
Not at all. Listen, okay, so how I used to do it, I have a formula now that I don't share. But how I used to do it is this way.
You gonna give us the old formula?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the old. and look, and I'm gonna give you a scaled down version of the old.
You gonna sell the old formula to us? Give us a new one.
But look,
at least we gonna get a formula.
Look, put it like this: it'll be in a heavy haul package in a few weeks, right? Okay. So anyway, so this is what I used to do in the beginning. I would look at permit calls, fuel calls, and then I would think about how much I want to make. At that point, when I think about what I need to make at that point, now I'm gonna combine that for a price. Now, how do you think about what you want to make?
I was gonna ask that question.
What is your worth? Yeah, like what is your worth? If you don't understand your worth, then you'll never get paid what you're worth, right? So you have to understand your worth. If you have a piece of equipment, how much does that equipment need to make to be successful? Is it $2,000 a day? Is it $2,500? Is it $3,000 a day? I can't dictate that to you, and let me tell you why. Right now, to buy my trailer right now, brand new, I put it up on my page, $363,000. Okay. I paid $250,000, and that's not what I paid, because that's finance too. I'm giving you the whole price.
Right.
I paid a lot less than that, right? And I walked away with some other things that I ain't gonna say. But I paid $250,000 for my trailer. To be specific, $257,000. That trailer now is $363,000. Okay. So with that being said, let's bring that around, right? Why does that matter? Okay, because my trailer note, in comparison to someone's paying $363,000, will probably be $1,000, maybe $1,500 less. How can you compete with me? Okay, remember I told you physical damage is based off the price of the thing, off the equipment, right? How can you compete with me? You're paying more physical damage, you're paying more notes, so you can't compete with me. So what you need to make is not what I need to make. I study the game. Every move I make is 2 years in advance thought out, because what I'm waiting on is for a shift in the economy so I can take advantage of it. Building a company has nothing usually to do with just the entitlements of the company, like what it does, how it works. I'm actually playing a much bigger game once you get to a certain level of how the world is shifting. Because I give you an example. I brought my truck and my trailer that I have now in the middle of the pandemic. And my wife was like, what are you doing? I'm like, what are you talking about? They're giving away money. I'm going to get this money. And she's like, Joe, you crazy. The world's coming to a halt. I said, man, these people ain't about to lose money forever. And I'm going to be with them when they start back getting money. Right. I grew my company by $500,000 in the pandemic. And people say, how do you grow? Well, let me tell you how. Everyone was told, go and buy a house, right? During the pandemic. You go and buy a house. Houses is a seesaw. Either interest is high or principal is high, okay? I'm not playing that game. I'm playing a different game. In the pandemic, for equipment, no one's working, right? So principal is low and interest is low. Why would I go take a loan, $200,000, $300,000 on a mortgage where they're just gonna charge me insurance and increase the price and get it where they want it later? My interest is locked on this truck. Now, let's look at this. $257,000 home, you will pay them almost double, okay? The trailer, I pay about 5.5%, 6% interest, okay? That trailer, remember I told you, must make its own cost per year. I had that house for 30 years. I sell it. What is it worth? Double? Cool. I paid $257 for it. I sold it. I made $257 off it. You didn't make $257. You gave away $200 in interest.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Okay, with that trailer per year, and I'll give y'all facts. Let's do facts, right? My trailer $257. I paid about $37,000 in interest. The house would have cost you $200. I paid $30. Okay, so divide 30 over a 5-year plan. Was it like $6,000 a year?
$6,000 a year.
Okay. Now, $6,000 a year is what I'm paying in interest. Why would I ever pay that off in rush? I'll explain that secondly. But I paid that little in interest and I made the cost of the trailer every year. So what it cost me to literally make the money that I made was $57,000 per year. I paid that out, which was in notes to them, but I made $257,000. So I pocketed $200,000 that year just off that equipment. Now, of course, maintenance and other things factor in. But the point that I'm making is it's a mind game, because you see how I went all the way into the housing market, and then I went all the way into interest rates, and I went all the way into what they pay for the house in interest as opposed to what I pay for my interest. Now let's bring it all together. So in 30 years, you have only made double your home in value, right? We know you gave away a large portion of that in interest. In 30 years with that trailer, if it just continues to repeat what I paid for it, I need a calculator. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's 30 years times 257. At some point, the note is going to run out. So I'll be pocketing the whole 257 times 30. I mean, that's crazy numbers. Like, put the zero and just start multiplying. You see what I'm saying?
And the actual asset appreciates as well.
And it appreciates as well.
Just
but
like
even,
a house.
But even if it depreciates, right? Check this out. I've made so much money off it. If I just walk away with $100,000, I don't care what I sell it for.
Right.
I will be respectful to other people who are looking to sell their equipment. I won't post it for 50 when those trailers are going for 100, but I'll post it for 100. And if somebody come to me and say, hey, Joe, I really want this trailer. He's a young person trying to start out, feed his family. Hey, yo, look, give me 50 and take the trailer, man. He looking at me like, serious? Nah, like serious. Like, dude, I got filthy rich off this trailer. Now you go take care of your family. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, that's who I am as a person. Like, I want the money out the millionaires' pockets, man. The little guy, man, come win. You know what I'm saying? Let me help you. Yeah. You know, and then, like I say, then you pay that for your kids.
No doubt.
So,
and those trailers do hold value and appreciate more than the typical trailer, right? Like a drive.
Nah, yeah. Okay, so people say appreciate, depreciate, right? I would say not necessarily does it go up, because, you know, home appreciates. It goes up.
Right.
Those trailers, they do depreciate, but this is the thing. It depends on the market if it'll appreciate or depreciate. But even in depreciation status, it's not by a lot.
Right.
You know, for instance, mine has appreciated, but I got in so cheap.
You got it at a time when they were just giving stuff away.
But if I resell it, someone may come and offer me $200 for it.
Right.
You know, so it didn't really appreciate, it depreciated, but within respect to the actual value or what I paid for it. So yeah, they hold their value. You take a flatbed, I mean, they're doing good too. Now, I won't lie, it's just not the same type money. You might pay, like, I got a step deck. Let's talk about that. I got a step deck that I paid $53,000 cash for. I think I could probably get close to that. I think I can get close to that for it. It's
how
still
long
new.
you had it?
It's new.
Okay.
Yeah, I did 10 loads with it.
Got it.
I had it for about a year now, but I don't really use it. Like I said, my other truck was down, so it's just been sitting. Yeah. So
Okay. All right, so spin back around to the formula because I don't know if you finished it. You said that the first part of the formula is you take in consideration your permits, so forth and so on, and then you think about how much you want to make or how much you need to make.
Yeah, because so basically you have to factor in what you need to be successful. So now this goes into your home, it goes into your lifestyle, it goes into what you pay yourself. Don't cheat yourself. If you live an expensive lifestyle, I don't recommend it, but if you live an expensive lifestyle, then you have to make the money to maintain it. So all of that's going to play into your pricing because, are you really going to bid and pay yourself $1,200 when you know you need $2,000? Right. That's why I tell a lot of people don't live an expensive lifestyle while you're building. You can do that later, right? But stand on point. So you factor that in. And then you factor in, like I said, of course, costs that it takes to do the load. And then you also have to factor in the fact that your equipment costs. So that's why I say, like, when people undervalue themselves, like, I don't get where they cut the money at. Like, what part of your business are you robbing? Right. Maintenance? You ain't robbing insurance. You're not robbing that note because you wouldn't have the equipment. Okay, you're not robbing insurance because you wouldn't be in business. So more often than not, that's why DOT is so successful, because you're robbing maintenance. We know you're not letting your lights get cut off. Like, that's last. So you're robbing maintenance, and that's why we have a DOT issue. They're doing some things to adjust that because they're realizing like tires are literally coming off and hitting cars. Yeah. Okay, that's maintenance, and that's why that's happening. So, so that's how you do your pricing. I mean, you basically price it according to your household structure. So when people say, "Oh man, do you charge them $5 a mile?" Like, I don't know when the last time I did a $5 mile. I think I did a $5 mile load with my step deck. You see what I'm saying? When you get in heavy haul, man, like these loads are $50, $60, $70 a mile. Sometimes I do about an hour. Like if I do a short load, I'm gonna be honest. I give my customer prices that I can live with. I'm gonna be honest. Like just say for instance, if you call me, like I said, going to California and you offer me 100, I'm like, well, I probably could do that right here. Or do I really want to go all the way to California? Because now you got to factor in breakdowns, maintenance, how you're gonna get this done, permit costs. New Mexico has restrictions that you had to buy permits going there and coming back even when you're empty. So it's just so much that goes into it, right? So I don't want to go all the way out there to make the same money I can make right here. So now when you factor that in, like I said, I just give them prices, but I'm like, I tell you what, I know 100 is a good number. Motivate me. They be like, 100 ain't enough. Nah, I mean, you want me to leave my area. I want to leave and make more money. Motivate me. So they say, okay, well, we can give you 125, 150. Now I'm looking at it like, okay, well, that's motivation. Like now you showing me you respect me, you respect my company, you respect my craft, and you want to see me, most importantly, make the money because you know what I bring to the table. At that point, I'm going. Now, one thing I don't do is if I give a customer a price thinking that, oh, that's too high, they'll never accept it. If they accept it, I'm going. No question. Because now you're calling my bluff. And now you're looking at the integrity of my company. When you went to your customer and say, hey, I have a guy that can do this load, but he wants it at this price, that customer is thinking, I don't want to pay that price, but I need this load, so I'll pay that price. And now you're going to back out? Nah, you can't do that. Yeah. You give a price, you do the load, period. Yeah. So that's kind of how I approach it. So I don't know.
That's good. That's good. When do you get like the best opportunities? Like what is, when you're on a load board, like when you see a particular circumstance and you're like, oh, that's going to be a good one. Like, what does that look like? Like when you know you're going to definitely eat off of this load because of the certain criteria that's around it.
So I'm hearing that as a 2-part question, right? Okay. So I'm going to answer both parts, okay? Right, cool. When do you get the best opportunity? Yep. Okay, freight runs from late April, May, all the way up to December for heavy haul. Okay, that's where your best opportunities lie. Now, that's not to say you're not going to make money outside of that, but that is to say you're not going to make much. So that's the best opportunities, right? Now, when I look at a load on a board, and I see the dimensions. Because the first thing I'm looking at is dimensions and weight. When I look at the board, I want to see the heaviest loads and I want to know the dimensions of those loads. More often than not, if it's equipment, I kind of already know what it is. I know what it entails. I've hauled it, okay? But let's just say it's not. Let's just say it's something that's real oddball. When I get the dimensions, I'm going to talk to the customer. The first thing I want to do is get pictures. Please do not be afraid. I'm looking you right. Like, don't be afraid. Demand pictures of the load. The reason why that's important, because so often you get to these loads with the dimensions. Customers have a tendency to add feet, weight, height to the load. And what they don't realize they're doing is you're bumping competitive nature from the load. If a guy has a trailer that can open up to 50 feet, okay, but you're demanding 52 feet, knowing your load is 49 feet, what you just did was took half the players that could have bid on that load that got you a better price out of the game. So you have to understand, and you do that by, of course, experience, knowing when they say, hey, I have this, well, I know what that is. I've done that. I know I can do it with this trailer. But what happens is with the pictures, the measurements, the tape, you know, everything being put on the load and you can physically see it. Now, as the expert who you are supposed to be, right? The expert, now I can make the determination, can I handle that load? And that's why I demand that. And then once I get that, now I know, next thing, I have no competition in my area that can compete. So now it's my load at my price. So that's why I'm going by what everyone doesn't have. No one comes in my lane and outspends me. You're not coming in my lane to spend more money than me. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to get it. I'm going to invest. I'm getting in that shop. If I got to pay that guy extra money, listen, get me in line. I'm getting in line. I want to dominate my area. And I'm going to dominate my area, no question. Customers know when they call Joe Gibb, he has flatbeds, step decks, he do power only. I personally specialize in oversized. And the reason I do that, because when I transition into what I want to do after trucking, me specializing in oversized is going to be important for my future. I'm actually in talks with a college to teach CDL classes. People say, why would you want to do that? Well, it looks good on my resume. You're right. Why would I want to go all the way back to the beginning? One, to help people, but at the same time, it looks good on my resume. And it also allows people from my community to have a chance at being successful and learn from somebody that has done it his whole life.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. What's the most expensive load you ever pulled?
Okay, so expensive, people looking for a crazy number on the top. Yeah. I don't really measure them that way, but I'll give you that too.
Okay.
I measure loads expense based off of what I made per mile.
Okay.
Because that tells me that I'm actually making money. So expensive per mile, hell man, I've done loads $200-300 a mile. Of course, it's a short load, but let's make it make sense now. My most expensive power only load was a $17,000 load, power only. Okay. My most expensive flatbed load, it wasn't a lot at all. I'm gonna be honest. It probably like $5,000-6,000. Because I won't go as far. My most expensive step deck load was probably like $10,000. Okay. My most expensive RGN load was probably like $20,000. Okay. And then my most expensive multi-axle load. I think I did like 44 on the load, something like that, 44,000. Of course you're hiring people. It costs. But you know, I want to say I took home out of that load probably somewhere in the neighborhood like 26, 27. Okay. Take home. So you top number 44. By the time you pay pilot cars and stuff like that, I think on that load I needed two. Oh, I needed a high pole, and then I needed a chase. So at that point, the high pole is gonna run you probably somewhere around $2 a mile. That chase is gonna run you probably $1.70, somewhere around there. And then you're paying these guys overnight expenses. I take care of my pilot cars. If you run with me over multiple days, I buy you food. I make sure you're straight. If it's a female, I'm gonna make sure you get to your hotel room. Not personally. You're gonna call me and say, "Hey, listen, I made it to my room. I'm checked in. I'm good." You know, people want to see their family. They want to know that they're going out making money and making it home. And I personally had one guy who's another pilot car driver. He called me. He said, "Man," he said, "Bro, I know I'm not supposed to have your number." He said, "But I demanded that my wife give me your number." And he was like, he said, "Man, I appreciate you." He said, "You literally demanded that she call you when she made it to her room," because she was like going to get something to eat and move around a little bit. I'm like, "Nah, you call me when you get to your room." Yeah. 2 reasons. I wanted to make sure she was safe. And then the next reason, I was the last one seen her. Right. So, yeah, you get to your room safe. Look, get home safe.
Truck and Hustle family, I'm coming to you with an exclusive deal just for you. Call 800-991-6251 to get 10% off on your first purchase.
So anyway, now you gotta look out for your people. So I spend a lot of money because I invest a lot of money into my people. I probably could have walked away with probably 30 out of that load, but I invest a lot of money, take care of my people. I tip my people a lot, and I overpay my people sometimes. That's what you do for people you appreciate.
And you use the same team all the time, or?
No, so I bounced around. I used to do it myself initially. I used to go on to like a a database and find them. That became hard, so I used a lady for a while to do it for me. Now I use a load board. A lot of people don't know that there's a load board for them.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm giving y'all game.
That's game right there. That's a load board for pilot cars?
Yeah, it's a load board for pilot cars. It's actually more than one. And what happens is, if you're a trucker, you're a shipper, hey, you can go on there and post your loads out, just like we get loads off of load boards. They get their loads off of load boards.
And they're bidding.
Now, this is what I say, but there is an industry standard for them. So they don't usually go less. And I'll tell you this. I'd have, and I ain't trying to start no mess, right? But I have had pilot cars that tell me, listen, whatever they charge you, I will beat it, right? And those people, I usually just throw away their number. Yeah, it's not worth it. Listen, I don't even want to promote that mindset that I'm gonna work with the guy who's gonna beat out. Like, remember I told you, I don't look to go direct because I don't want to be the cheapest.
Right.
What are you actually offering me for being the cheapest? Are you offering me that if you find something higher, you're gonna leave? Right? Are you offering me the ability to totally be just stuck at a customer? Are you offering me the ability to actually have the proper insurance, the proper certifications? So some things is not worth it, man. You're getting the money, pay them top dollar, and demand that they have everything they're supposed to have.
That's dope.
One thing you know for sure, if you hit a bridge, they have insurance too.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
What do you spend in maintenance yearly?
Good question. I overspend because I overdo it. So I do a lot of preventative is what I mean by overdo it.
Yeah, PM.
So but other than that, I probably spend per truck. It depends on the year, what kind of issues I'm having. I mean, I've spent as little as like $3-4 grand in a year.
Okay.
That's when I first get a truck, it's running good, everything is good, and I just do, like I say, preventative maintenance quickly. 3 things I get off a truck, every truck I buy, because I only buy used, I won't buy a new truck. 3 things that I get off a truck is the batteries, the starter, and the alternator. One thing I hate most is a perfectly truck. If I could just get it cranked, I can go make all the money in the world, but it won't crank. So within the first 6 months of me buying any truck, the starter, alternator, and the batteries must go. And the reason why is because they're all connected. So I get that off first. Gotcha. Then from there, fan belts, things like that. So that normally on a light year, you're talking $3-4 grand preventative maintenance. Now on years when I'm doing tires, things of that nature, and I got just my equipment alone, I probably got about 100 tires, with all my fleet. So, I mean, you're spending, $200-300, sometimes upwards of $400. If you're buying steers, I run regular steers on my truck because my truck is set up to do that. So those tires, normally I run a good premium tire, and that is normally $700 or so per tire. So at that point, it's nothing for me to go in there and drop $5-10 grand just to buy tires, just to basically shoe one truck. My people know me. Now I will say this though, but we do have our own tire company too. Okay. Yeah, in New Orleans we have a tire company. We sell commercial tires. We do have a mechanic shop that we do business with. I mean that we own, and they do business. And I'm connected. Yeah, in my city I'm connected. Okay. And respected in my city. Okay. Respectfully.
No doubt.
I'm respected. Yeah.
No doubt. 100%. You talked earlier about leasing on guys earlier in your business. Are you still doing that?
Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is an 80-20 split. Anyone wants to lease on, they can come on, take home 80%. I'll cover factoring out of that cost if there's any factoring involved. The reason why I say factoring involved is because my owner operators, I do make them liable for all expenses that I pay. That 80% is for the benefits of my insurance, which is extremely cheap. I have a 6-digit MC number. And not only is it 6 digits, it's middle of the pack, which means getting that authority in 2007 has afforded me a lot of leeway and respect throughout the industry. So I say that to say, what I pay in insurance, if I was new, I would be paying double. No, actually, I probably wouldn't even be able to afford it. So when you lease on with me, you get good discounts on a lot of that stuff. You also get me, someone who's operated every trailer. So you gain my personal experience, my professional experience, you gain all that. And this is what I'll say. And I don't care who you are. I venture to say this. I will make you more money at 80% than you will ever make working for yourself at 100. Facts. No one in the industry has put more money in their pocket than what I am. So far as per truck.
And is that because of your relationship?
Well, experience. So just remember, I'm principal, right? So everything I do, what I've done is I've searched the best way to do it. And I'm meticulous. So it's going to drive me crazy until I figure out the most efficient way to do it. So then once I do it, then I build and I expound on that knowledge, and then I just master it. So at that point, Remember, I do everything for myself.
Yeah.
So I'm extremely meticulous. I don't want it done wrong. Could I be more successful if I incorporated people? Yeah, but I'll do that in time. Right now, I'm in an aggressive building stage. Now, once I relax a little bit and I could afford a few mistakes here or there, then I can say I'll delegate that to this person. That way, if it's a mistake, it's no big deal. I can literally pat them on the back. I'll be doing a disservice to someone right now, bringing them on and being so aggressive, because every mistake they make, I'm a micromanager. So it's phases that you got to go through. When you're in that building stage, you want to kind of control certain things for yourself while allowing other people. So that's why I'm not big on company drivers. I'm big on operators. The owner operators, they're going to make sure that their equipment is set and ready to run because they think like me. I only want to deal with bosses. I don't want you to come and work for me for 20 years. I want you to come and work for me and learn from me. And in 2 to 3 years, you're ready to move on. That's not to say you can't stay 20 years, because bosses also understand that, hey, Joe, why would I take on that expense? Why would I take on all that work? And like I just said, and still make less money.
Right.
I'd rather relegate that to you and let you do it for the 20%, the 80%. Now, what I mean by that, anybody that has ever given me 2 years, right? They're not going to make less than 200 grand a year. The reason why I say 2 years is because the first year is for you to learn my system. Okay. By that second year, yeah, you're making 200. The average guy out here, and they throwing numbers around, I'm here to tell you some of it is cap. But this is the thing. The average guy who works for themselves with their own authority is probably making somewhere around 150, 160 a year gross. Okay. You're going to do 200 with me. And this is why. I'm going to motivate you in ways that you didn't really realize that you can be motivated. I'm going to push you in ways that you probably wouldn't push yourself. But I'm going to do it with much respect because you are your own boss and I work for you. You are under my company. But when you are under my company, I work for you. When you call me, you ask me to book you a load, I book you a load. When you call me and say, hey, Joe, I'm having this problem. Can you get this paperwork to me? I do it. So who calls someone else and makes demands? The person who's running their ship. And the person that received those demands is the person who works for them. Right. Everyone I work with, I treat them like I work for them. I'm your employee. So now what that does is it shifts my mindset to be respectful, to be polite, to be understanding, to be encouraging. So I take that supportive role and then I become a motivator. Once I teach you the game, you don't need me to teach you nothing else. Now you need me to push you. So let's go. Listen, yo, they got these loads going over here. If all 5 of y'all take them, we can make more money. If I get all 5 guys on board, they like, how much? Okay, well, right now they're paying $5 grand. Yo, I think I can get 75 from them if we just take the whole project. Y'all want to run it? Yeah, y'all go run it. Look, tell y'all, man, they got this little restaurant over there, good food. When I sell it to you, remember, I got the personal experience. Yeah. So I'm going to sell it. I sent one of my guys to Virginia in the salt mines. And he was like, man, I don't know about that. Man, I'm telling you, bro, it's a nice little town. It's winter. The lakes are beautiful. I know the history. Right. I could sell
the picture.
Yeah, I'm about to sell water to a lake. I got you. Look, this how I eat.
Sell water to a well.
Yeah, I got you. So I have the personal experiences to tell you. And when they go, they like, man, Joe really been here. Nah, I have. I did the loads myself. So that's why I encourage people who want to be a boss, man, go do 2 years on the road. I understand you're going to hate it. But when you start building and you start telling guys that I'm not going to send you somewhere I haven't been myself, that means something to them. I'm not asking you to do something that I wouldn't or haven't done. Right. No, I haven't been to every city, but I've been out there on the road. I could tell you personally from experience what you're going to go through. That connects and resonates with people in ways you'll never understand. You know, and not you personally, but people won't. Yeah. So yeah, nah, it's the connection, man. So when you do that, now guys looking like, man, I really could. The next problem a lot of guys have over the road is this guy's starting out. He don't have 15, 20 grand in his bank account. So now it's my job to back him and say, listen, that truck go down, I got you. I'm coming to get you. No question. And guess what? If that truck go down, I got him and I'm going to get him. Remember, I got low boys. That truck broke, how much they going to charge you to fix it on the road? Man, they talking 30 grand to rebuild my motor. Nah, we're not doing that. Listen, I'm on my way. Go get you a room. How much is it? I'm going to send you the bread. Go lay up, chill. I got you. How much it costs to eat? I got you. I'm on my way. Personally, I'm going to get your truck. We bringing it back. On top of that, I might bring another truck if one's available, right? I'll bring that truck. Now you keep going to do your load, okay? Give me your truck. I'm going to bring it home. When you get in, we'll figure it out. It's no big deal. When you tell a guy that, which is what the big companies do, they make you feel safe. That's what I've positioned myself to be able to do. So the equipment that I own is not just about making money. It's about rescue. It's about positioning. It's about understanding. It's about building business. And again, when you put it all together, that's when your business starts to grow. You got to connect the dots. Yeah.
I love you, man. Yeah, I'm just sitting there listening to you. That's some good stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
it's finesse. You know what I'm saying? I got to
just
sell
like-
a story, right? See, he going to buy a truck.
I'm
you know
like,
what I'm
man,
saying?
I think I want to be a heavy hauler now, man. Like,
nah, it's
God
comfort.
damn.
Now, I'm going to say this, though. I do not lease on heavy auto. I don't do it.
You don't lease heavy auto?
Nah. The risk is too great.
Too much risk.
Listen, if you're going to do that, I think you got to do it yourself. Or you have to go with a major. My insurance company, I think, will look at me very crazy when they say, Joe, how well do you know him? And I'm like, I know him my whole life. No, how well do you know him? Can he drive? Is he going to wreck this truck? Like, when loads start to become taller than what they require, wider, heavier, it honestly, it's a job for bosses.
Yeah.
Some people relegate themselves to that position by saying, listen, I'm a boss. I know I can do it if you can do it, right? And they really can't honestly have the capability to do it. But this is the thing. Some people don't want the headache. And I understand that because somebody has to work for somebody for that person to grow. So a lot of people, they don't want the headache. You employ them. But do you know the level of interviewing and dissecting that it's going to take, honestly, to put that person in position mistake free? Because I'm a small business. I'm not a large company. Most companies are bonding their own companies. So they could take that risk. They can say, listen, like the large companies of the world, they can say, hey, listen, I'm going to take a new guy straight out of school and we know he's going to have some accidents. They have the analytics, the studies, the statistics of who's going to wreck, who's not, the likelihood of this. I don't have that. So what I have to do is make the best decision for myself by saying, I'm not going to do this with people. Now, what I will say is, but if you lease on with flatbed or step deck, you have the potential to do heavy haul with me. But you got to prove something to me. Because, again, them kids got to eat. And putting me out of business, that ain't going to work. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, nah, that's what it's about, man. But, you know, the beauty of it all, when you own a business, you get to make those choices. And I don't care if in 30 years you run your own business and you walk away with nothing. In the end, you can articulate that knowledge to your kids, and I guarantee you they will walk away with something.
Yeah.
My dad, he didn't end his career with a lot, but look at me. You see what I'm saying? Mechanic work, things that I learned from him, understanding, patience, how to talk to people. My dad grew up in the South in the 50s. That taught me what respect was. Of course, his respect had to be relegated to a certain demographic of people, but at the same time, it still taught me what respect was. Yeah. Now, I can incorporate who I facilitate that to, you know? So it's a lot you learn. It's a lot I learned personally. And man, it shaped me. It made me who I am. And I will say to heavy haul people that's interested in getting into the industry, I always recommend step deck at least first, if not flatbed. It allows you to learn to secure loads on a smaller scale. It minimizes the mistakes. The loads aren't as heavy. You don't have to get everything perfectly right. But by the time you get to heavy haul, you want to have practice perfection. Right. Securing them loads. I say this quickly. I seen a dude drop a load going into the tunnel, going into Mobile. My family and I, we were going to the little battleship thing where you can tour the boat. Right. The dude load came off in a tunnel going down. Man, do you know, like, he probably could have got it lifted up with 2 wreckers, but because where it was positioned, I'm almost sure they had to bring a crane out. That crane, to lift that, that's a $3,000 an hour crane. Plus, it might require 20 plus truckloads to get it there, and a low boy, and all these other small parts. The margin for error is minimal. I mean, yeah, you making 40, man, you might spend 80 to 100 getting out of bind. Don't do that to yourself. Yeah. Master it on a lower level and then take that higher. That's what I tell people.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many guys you have leased on now?
So I just started back leasing on. I got my nephew leased on. I got another truck that I'm literally personally doing the work on. I'm gonna put a driver in that truck. No one drives my yellow truck. And then from there, I'm in talks with a couple people right now to lease on. Because it's heavy haul, most times I don't care if I lease people on. But at this point, I'm looking to grow, and also I'm pursuing certain contracts. So in that instance, I have to have the numbers. And then on top of that, I'm rounding up, paying off my equipment. So at this point, what finance companies do, they want to see growth. And if not, then they stop giving you lines of credit because you're not growing. So I'm investing in a business that's not growing.
Got it.
They don't want to do that. So, and I learned that the hard way. Look, I called my guy up, right? He's like, I'm like, yo, I got this trailer. I want it. Right after I got my new trailer. And I still had my old trailer at the time because I had them for the same time for like a month or two. He was like, Joe, He said, right now you're showing 2 trucks on your authority. I'm like, and what that mean? You know I'm good for it. He said, yeah, being good for it, don't sell it to my bosses. So he was like, listen, I'm gonna give y'all an inside tidbit about growth. When finance companies look at giving you money, they're gonna look online, and whatever your authority says, truck-wise you have, is what they're gonna judge you off. Right. You can have 50 trucks. If you don't put 50 trucks on your authority, then you have whatever that authority shows. If it's 1, 2, whatever, and that's what they're gonna loan you money according to, of course, numbers, past history, things of that. But they're not gonna loan you enough money to go buy 10 trailers when you're running 2. What are you going? What the other trailers gonna do? You need to tell us that you're going in a business renting trailers, leasing trailers, or whatever, before they just give you that money. Like, these people are not crazy. They know what they're doing. Yeah. So it's about making money, and it's about investing and being smart. I know we talked on a live, and I was telling you about the 90%, 10% rule. Yeah. That 10% rule is money that I typically would waste on family, because 90% is definitely enough to do the job.
Yeah, talk about that methodology real quick, because everybody may not heard it.
Cool. Yeah. 10% rule. Typically, I would take 10% of whatever I earn per year, and I would splurge on my family, right? But when you're building, every dollar counts. So what I do is I carve out a portion. Now, I know every year I'm gonna have 10% to waste. So what I do is, as I've learned to make more money, the 10% has gotten bigger. So I carve out a portion of that 10% to reinvest. Now, every year I'm gonna make a large splash. I'm buying something new. So I'm gonna take a portion of that 10% and reinvest it, whether it is monthly installments. Hypothetically, if I have like 12,000, I know I can pay 1,000 per month, because that 12,000 is, 1,000 per month over 12 months. Right. And I'll just pay a note, you know what I'm saying? Or I'll stack that 10 and just go make a big purchase. And then whatever I have left out of that 10, like, cause I'm saying 12,000, but that 10% might realistically be 20 or 30 or 40. So I'm gonna just reinvest some of that back into it. And then my family is relegated to enjoy the rest, like trips, whatever my wife wants to do, whatever the kids wants to do. And then with the kids, my kids are older now, and I have the new kids that's getting, coming up. But what I did with my older kids is we rotated years. So my wife and I had odd years, my kids had even years. On their year, they can pick wherever they want to go. And I had to take them. I gave them 2 countries because I didn't want them going crazy. So they had 2 countries, and everything else is domestic. But we did some traveling. We had a lot of fun. We took 2-week road trips. Like, we had a blast. And the beauty was, I was younger, because my oldest son is 21, he'll be 22 this year. And I was younger. I could run around and get on them rides with them. You know what I'm saying? So we had a lot of fun. My younger kids are getting the old version of me, man. Like, I don't want to get on roller coaster rides. But anyway, all in all, that's what we do, man. We have a good time. And they got to pick their things they want to do. And then my wife and I, we pick the things we want to do in our year. Yeah. And they would just do something locally, like a water park or something like that. Yeah.
Got it. Throughout your journey, what was like the worst time for you? What was the biggest, most challenging period?
Okay, so this and I refer to my wife, and she my other half. She's my me. We won, right? Before she was my wife, I had a truck. I remember I told you I brought a truck from a second chance place initially. The engine in that truck went out, and my wife came to me. I had money. I wasn't broke. Like, I think I had maybe about 8 or 10 grand at the time. But the money is going fast because I'm down for a month. My wife went in, man, or girlfriend then, she went and took a loan. And she just came to me, Brian. She surprised me with the money. She was like, yo, look, I know you've been down. And she was new in my life. Like, I met her in 2012. This was 2013. Year together. And she was like, yo, I got this bread. Look, whatever you need. She said it's a loan. She said, because I got to pay it back. So you got to pay it back. But I did this for you. But my engine in my truck went out. My whole family came together, man. And that's why I'm so family oriented. And my sisters, they called me. I told my mom, and my mom, like, ain't no secrets with her. If something she know the family can help you with, she's telling the family. So you might as well just tell them. Right. So she told my sisters, man, they hit me up. And it was like, yo, we hear your truck down. What do you need? And I was like, well, I don't really need nothing. It's like, come on now, what do you need? And I was like, well, what can y'all give me? So they each one of them band together, and they gave me what they could. When it was all said and done, I did end up having to borrow, because like I said, I was out for a month. I brought a truck, and I had to put money down because that second chance place, it didn't report to my credit. So I didn't establish credit like immediately. So I had to put up a lot of money. My family band together and they came to me and they said, look, we understand you straight. Lose the stubbornness, lose the pride. Let us help you. No strings attached. When it was said and done, my family and everyone had put up $8,000. They gave it to me. So I'm like, okay, cool. Damn near in tears because I ain't want to ask. I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, you know you talk too much. And I said, but you know what though, Mom? I said, I understand now why you talk so much. I said, I would have never asked. It helped. It was one of my toughest times in the industry, man, because a man who's so independent and wants to put his family on his back had to literally take them off his back and get on theirs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my little 8 or 10, it went fast. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, just to sit home for a month or two, it would have held me for about 3 months.
Right.
But I was flying around looking at trucks. I'm buying flights, I'm renting cars. I get here, the truck is not what the guy told me it was. I got to buy another flight to just jump on and go right back home. Gas money. If I'm out overnight, I got to buy a hotel. Like, it goes fast when you're doing all that. Like, people don't understand. So to have my family come together. But let me tell you the magnitude of that, right? I always pay my bills on time. The place that I brought the truck from, they were offering me another truck while still having to repair that truck for me. The deal I had with them was I put $5 down. As long as I pay my note on time, if the truck break, they're responsible for half. Okay. But I could turn the truck in as long as I'm not behind. So let me tell you, I've been blessed to think fast on my feet. So I don't take losses. I don't do that, right? So this company was like literally playing me. Like back then, this before $400 a week notes existed. I was paying like almost $400 a week. I'm knowing you're robbing me. Like, prices are not like that. So I said, okay, cool. You open the door for games, I'll play some. Fair enough, right? You open the door, let's get it in.
Play stupid games,
yeah,
win
let's get
stupid
it.
prizes.
Yeah, I'm with it. So they open the door, right? And you know, they ripping me off, charging me all kind of crazy numbers for whatever I need. Sold me a truck with problems. I'm pouring stuff in there to stop the truck from leaking water in the pistons. Like, I'm going through it. Changed the engine head on it within like 6 months. Like, they robbed me, I felt. I said, okay, cool, I got you. Pay the note on time. I'm a mechanic. This is nothing. This is easy. I can do it. So now the engine goes out. I'm not behind. So I told my girlfriend at the time, wife, I said, listen, I'm paying like $2,000 a month on this truck, and this is ridiculous. I said, I'm gonna turn this into a decent vehicle for me to ride in because I was riding a piece of crap. But my dad helped me get it, so I love it, Dad. You know what I'm saying? But the truck was old, it was beat up. It was a truck I got from an auction, man. It was horrible, right? My wife could attest to that one. So what happens is I need a better truck to ride in. I need another truck to work with, and I want to get me another place to live. I want to get me a different apartment. So I turned that $2,000 a month into all that I said I would. So that's why I was in limbo when the engine went out, because yes, I could have got them to fix it. Yes, they would have put me in another truck. But what I didn't want to do is go back into that deal, because I felt like the Father was positioning me to grow. I just needed to do the work, right? So I took that opportunity, man, and I found a truck eventually after a month. I took that truck. It was a Freightliner, older model. I think it was an 01 model that I had in 2013. I brought that truck for $16,000. I put that $8,000 that they gave me down. So now at this point, I needed to tap in and reach out to my cousin who I helped get in the game earlier. And then he helped me through, man. He's like, yo, cuz, I got you. I know you would get me. Put it like this. I was in your state when Sandy hit y'all state. Okay. I was there. I went up there to rescue him. So I'm in there. I'm watching the lines around the gas station. I was there. We went to the PA line. I think it's a TA truck stop out that way. So I'm there, right? So I had rescued him. So now it's his chance to rescue me. He was honored to help. So he helped me, brought me a plane ticket. Yo, cuz, check that truck out. Tell me what you need. Help me get my license plate. I'm like literally, I'm on my knees. I'm down. So he helped me get back in the game. And then when he did that, I'm a hustler. Like, yo, let's get it. Book this load. Do y'all do quick pay? Yeah. Do y'all do cash advances? Yeah, let me get that. I get the other half when I drop. And that's how you build yourself back up. Like, you really got to get down and get it. And if you strong, come on, man. You gonna reach for help. They gonna hand it to you. You take that and you run with it. And that's what I realized. I realized I was stronger than what I thought I was, right? And I shook back and I came back, but now I came back stronger. Now I'm paying $304. Actually, my weekly note was $390 something a week. I was paying $363 a month on that truck.
Oh wow.
You see what I'm saying? So I flipped that. Yeah. Then I went and got me a new pickup. Look, I'm riding fly. My girl fly in town. Yo, let's go. I ain't got to rent a car no more. I'm riding fly. Grab me a spot out there and I'm up. So that was my toughest time. It was tougher than what it needed to be because I wanted to transition, but it was my toughest time and I survived it. And that let me know that I could grow. One of the things my dad used to always tell me was, son, you got to get somewhere and sit there. And although it did benefit me in the long run, I still felt like all the experience that I gained from bouncing around from containers, the dirt, the end dump to this, the insurance to that, that still helped shape me. I feel like I needed it all. So like ultimately he was right, but I still felt like because he had got there and sat there, that it hindered his ability to grow. Right. Because look at all the knowledge I retained by bouncing around. Yeah. So now I tell people in your 20s, man, flirt with everything. In your 30s, horn in on what you want to specialize in. In your 40s, grow it. Make as much as you can. In your 50s, retire a little bit and go enjoy life. No doubt. And if you don't get it in your 20s, it's over. The window is closed. Plan for it in your 50s. Because ball players, they get in their 20s, man, they buy their earrings, jewelry, travel, and I hung around them, right? Like literally, personally, been to houses. But the thing is, they got it in their 20s. They can enjoy it. Like, who don't want to be a player and a guy with a Lambo in your 20s? But you missed that window. It didn't work for you. So now, get serious about life, plan your family, grow your family, get your family up and running on their own, and enjoy life in your 50s. That's your windows, 20s or 50s. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm planning for the 50s because I ain't get it in my 20s. You know what I'm saying? No doubt. But look, I lived a good life, man. I've been some places. I went where I wanted to go. Yeah. Huh?
I said live in. You said live. Like,
it's over. Living. Yeah, I'm still living. Right. Yeah, I'm living a good life, man. I travel. I buy what I want. I eat what I want. Yeah, I ain't complaining. Life is good. It's great. I love it.
No doubt. All right, cool. Yeah. So we gonna wrap, man. Before we go, we definitely have to do two things. One, let everybody know where they can connect with you. Learn more about yourself personally, learn more about Gibson Logistics. And then two, we got to get the final thought, something entrepreneurial, spiritual, whatever you want to leave the Hustle fam with, man. So let's start with where people can connect with you and learn more about yourself and the company.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm on IG, Joe Gibb. I go by Trucking Game as well because I spit a lot of game about the trucking industry. So you can find me there. And then my last words, man, is don't cheat yourself, man. Put in the work. It'll pay off, Yeah, put in the
Short
work.
And sweet.
Yeah.
Don't cheat yourself, treat yourself.
Yes, sir.
All right, Hustle fam, if you don't respect, damn, how you gonna have such a short final thought in such a long interview?
I gave it all in the interview, right?
You gave us all interviews.
I gave it all in the interview.
Yo, final thought, don't cheat yourself.
Yeah, don't cheat yourself, man.
Man, it's not mic drop. Nothing left to be said.
Yes,
I love it.
Yes, sir.
Hustle fam, if you don't respect that, your whole perspective is whack. You know what we do around this time, man. It's been another amazing episode. Thank you so much, Joe. If you smell something burning, it's only a desire. Myself, Joe, Gibson Logistics. Till next time, we out.